This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me, I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Only Friends podcast. This is day 39 of the 2022 WSOP. Episode 69. We saved this one for a special guest.
I didn't know it was episode 69.
I wasn't going to make a big deal about it. Melissa couldn't help herself. She's like, I'm going to make the thumb for DePaulo, and I'm going to put nice on it. It's like an Easter egg.
That's awesome. Yeah. It is a slightly smaller group today.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys are playing the main event.
Everybody's
playing the main event.
Go Team Solve for Why.
Yes.
I took one on the chin for the rest of the team.
Yes.
I said, I'm going to play the shit day C full of a bunch of Euro pros so that all of you can have slightly higher EV in this event.
Poor Matt, yet again.
Yeah.
Right? And we may have a smaller group here, but we have all the energy in the world and all the knowledge in the world. Was I not introduced yet? Sorry.
No, you are. You're good.
Go, hey, buddy, shut the fuck up. I didn't pass to you yet.
No, what I was going to say is, can we please acknowledge that I'm the martyr here?
Yes.
I'm sacrificing myself for the greater good.
Yes. And I really, really want to hear about your day one. I've been sitting here for the last, 40 minutes.
You don't.
Dying to know about his day one.
No, you don't.
I don't. I guess I don't really like to hear bad beat stories.
On the WhatsApp group, and it was just pure pain.
Your day one will be much more fascinating.
No, but I think listeners of the podcast want to hear about your day one. Now they know you every day, but you're a daily this loop somehow on the setting. I don't know what the fuck. Listen to you guys twice episode in sleep. Like the last week, it's been like 2x the episodes run in my sleep.
We're earworming our way right
Yo,
into
it's crazy. Like I think I'm falling in love with you because you're just incepting in my dreams.
Finally.
So please tell me, Victim Matt, about your rough day one.
We're gonna stick a pin in that momentarily.
All right, sorry, you're the host.
That's the meat of the show. I understand. We got to give them a little bit of a tease. Before we do get to the main event coverage, I think that there are a few things to highlight. First and foremost, $1 million fucking was handed out yesterday.
Oh shit, yeah.
Just a free milli. I would never know what that's like because I gave up. This isn't even a victim thing. I just straight gave up. I played the event once. I said, this is a horror show. I want nothing to do with it. I'm out.
You got me angry about the structures with your structure rant. I know no other world really. I'm new to this.
Yeah. I mean, look, if you want to run a 30-minute turbo, run a 30-minute turbo. It's fine. The problem for me is how long the days are and how few people actually have a crack at a bounty. Like, I think that if we're going to have this big bounty prize pool where you're essentially selling a lot, like a weighted lottery, right? More than 5% of the pool has to have a crack here. Like, let's just make the minimum bounty smaller.
We could have known this, though. Wasn't it the same structure as the housewarming? Or no, we start with 10K less chips.
Start with fewer chips.
But it's still...
I complained a lot about the housewarming structure, though. It was awful.
But you knew what the housewarming structure was while you had all the hopium in the world for the $1 million bounty.
Yeah. Well,
so this is a post-busting Matt attitude, a little bit.
You're sort of right. I guess what I didn't realize is how few people bagged the housewarming. I didn't realize.
Yeah, I knew. During the housewarming every day, I was looking at it like, yo, only 5% bag, and I liked it. I was like the old Matt. Apparently, this is what they said about you. That was like, yo, let's fucking flip day one and make day two a thing. Although
I'm all for flipping day one.
Day two and that was not long enough at all. 40-minute levels when people are playing slower is still just as turbo as 30. But I love the idea though that just making day two, you're in the top 5%. That's fun as hell.
I like everything you're saying with the exception of the length of day.
Yeah,
right?
No, it was brutal. Yo, we bagged at like 2:30 and we're back at 10 a.m.
A 15-hour day to quote unquote flip your way into the important part of the tournament is too goddamn long, man. Like, if we're really gonna do this, let's just start running some cold hands out. You know, like let's spend a couple hours. Like I almost like I didn't play it. I didn't have the heart to be quite honest. But I almost like the 15-minute level 6-hour day better.
Because it's essentially the same thing. It's just a fuck fest, and like that's why every like pro there was like all the top pros like just. Did you see the list of the people who played it on Poker News? not all the top pros, but many names that you didn't think would come out for it. We're like,
Your
oh, you know
hourly's
what?
just higher.
I'll go flip it because
Yeah.
it's like you're just flipping. I max late reg that, and I had days off till I
Yeah.
lost in two
Your
hands. but it was
hourly's a
great.
lot higher, and also like nobody's under the false notion or the false pretense that you're actually playing tournament poker.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
Like, you know what you signed up for. This is a 15-minute daily where you're going to get ranked pretty hard, but it's okay because you want to be a part of this lottery that fucking Matt Glantz, of all goddamn people, is just going to pluck the winner of.
Yeah. So does everybody know listening like what? I'm sure that they know by now the $1 Million Bounty setup.
Yeah,
but
so-
there was a super turbo flight at the end. Maybe they don't know that.
Yeah, maybe
like
they don't know.
there were 4-day ones, but 2 of them took place on the same actual human day, and the second was 15-minute levels. It was a non-closeted turbo, even though it was like
Yeah.
they're all turbos. But yeah,
Yeah,
anyway.
it was 7 to 2 a.m., I believe.
Yeah.
So I only know that the $1 Million Bounty's been plucked. I think that the remaining of the big bounties still are out there.
Well, oh my God, the $1 Million Bounty's been plucked. Who did it? Do we have footage? Tell me more, Matt.
We sure do, right?
Yeah, it is indeed Matt. He's got the bounty hat on, he's good to go. All right, I'm going to look this up. You're going to pick one, and we'll move on to place it here in open. Go ahead.
Luckiest guy in the building right here. Luckiest guy in the building.
Okay, it says it feels heavy. All are weighted the same. Place it right there for me. Good luck. Time for the sweat. It needs to be right here. Sorry. Yes. Yeah, thank you. The feel, the slow feel.
It's our size. That's
How many sides?
Need a 5.
it's a 1.
It is a one. It is a one.
It's a 1. Oh baby. Here it is. You ready, Kev? Oh
Is he worthy
Is
of
there,
getting
I
that?
was going to say, is there anyone less deserving than Matt Glantz?
Yeah, no, I'm happy. I'm happy it went to someone who really needed the money and
Look.
everything.
He is the epitome. He's the embodiment of why I fucking whine it in so goddamn much. He literally put a tweet out the day before. Can't believe all this FOMO over this circus bounty event.
Oh my God, I saw that.
Give me a break, man. This is exactly why you whine it in. Never seen so much FOMO over a nonsense circus bounty
Yeah.
event.
Yeah, and then he caught the FOMO, like all those COVID
Yeah.
doubters who were like, "Oh, what's all this fuss?" And then they're like dead. You know what I mean? Then you catch the FOMO, then you go play and pull. But
I
I'm
think
just glad it went to.
he quote tweeted that again and said like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
It's like fuck
Oh,
you.
yeah,
bro.
all right.
Yeah. After you win $1 million.
Yeah, we had to just pay you $1 million for you to get on board. I'm glad it went to a recreational. You know what I mean? That's the good thing is that this is good for the game. That now a rec has a bankroll. They're on the scene.
That is true. That is true. No, seriously though, congratulations to Glantz. He's
No, fuck it. No congratulations
I
to
like
anybody
Glantz a
pulling a
lot.
lotto ticket. No, I guess there's some. You have to like. I guess congratulate when you purely luck. I get whatever. Mind.
Here's the thing that
Still, congratulations.
Well, like, here's what I don't follow. I have no idea who plucked the 500 and 250, and apparently they were also plucked.
Right.
Which makes me think that it was a wreck.
Congratulations to them. Congratulations seems like a weird word. It's like not a thing you really did. I guess you did it.
You were there for it.
You were there for it. Do you say congratulations when someone wins the lottery?
Yeah.
I
think
would just
so.
be like LFG to their face.
It's,
I don't know.
It's like being the dad in the waiting room. Like, you had a hand in this.
Yeah.
It may have been minimal.
You did something.
It
You
may have
knocked
been minimal,
somebody
but
out.
here's your cigar. Congratulations on the baby boy. Like,
You did something. Yeah. That's pretty sick. I love my comment was on the screen there, but I mean it that I love the heel moments when nobody in the room is rooting for you
Yeah.
except you.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
everybody there is hoping for that. They don't want him to get it. It's like deal or no deal also, which is such an interesting dynamic. Like right after that pull is pulled, everyone's play should have changed immediately
Yeah.
for how much the bounties are
At
worth.
least somewhat,
And
yeah.
that whole dynamic is very interesting to me that like not somewhat significantly. I mean, that's
well, there's
like
still a 500 and a 250.
yeah, but that's still more than first place in the regular structure
Yeah.
of it that was out there, right? I mean, like, I don't know. I guess there were a ton of bounties and people left.
I
But
mean, you can just figure out the EV of the bounty. I think that somebody did the math, and each bounty was worth about $5,300.
holy shit.
So
yeah,
you
well,
take
you
the
could do
million
the
out.
math, or you could have just do what I would have done and just guesstimate and then blow it probably in many spots, like many of the Rex
Yeah,
did.
but I mean, you take the million out, and that number substantially reduces.
It must,
each,
right?
each
Probably
bounty probably goes down to like
2,000 or
3,500.
something.
right, yeah, that's a huge difference.
Yeah, I think the million represented. So there was 12.5 million total in the prize pool, and a third of that went to the bounties. So about 4 million. So the million represented 25%. So yeah, you're going to take about 1,250-ish, 1,300-ish off of the bounty total. So now each one's worth about 4K.
So do you still
Well,
do it in?
I don't think you can do it that way
Why?
because the amount of bounties that exist, we're shrinking everything, right?
Yeah, but the majority of them were insignificant at that point. I think like a couple 25 kids have been pulled, and mostly all.
Oh, but
1Ks.
you can't do it exactly. It is like deal or no deal because it's still you have to
Yeah,
pluck out what's been
exactly.
plucked
I mean,
and then know exactly
But
where.
we
Yeah.
know what you're saying.
'Cause it
Yeah,
could
I
be-
guess what I'm saying is like if 100 1K bounties were pulled, I don't even think there were 100 1K bounties, but say 20 1K bounties were pulled, that has almost no effect whatsoever on the bounty prize pool. If anything, it increases your likelihood of the bounty going up.
Yes.
But $1 million being pulled, you can make some quick adjustments.
Yeah.
Even still, though, it's still they're still worth something. It's kind of like a PKO, but
Yeah, I was gonna
not.
ask how you calculate it in chips. But there's a way. I don't want to reveal my high tech math, but I know that. No.
Oh, you got it like that.
Ape Styles actually taught me before the Venom PKO. I was like, yo, please coach me. Like, I'll give you the sweat, and he helped me with. He was like, here's the high level formula, and my eyes glazed over, and he's like, all right, here's the shitty formula. Like, you'll just learn this for now. But yeah, no, I don't know, dude. It's a fun. Yeah, it sucks though to play that late, only beat 5% of the field in a flip fest. So you might as well make it 10-minute levels. Like, who cares?
I would just like to. I mean, maybe I'll do this after the series. I would just like to take a deeper dive into like the structure of everything because I feel like there's a better way to orchestrate the entire and navigate the entire tournament if we reduce the amount of people that are paid from 15% to 10. Min cashing was $1,026. Now, technically, you're getting your $300 bounty back, so you are cashing 45% above min. Like, it actually is like a 1.5x cash,
right.
but it doesn't feel that way when you bought in for $1,000, right? So I imagine nobody's going to be sore about just eliminating 5% of the people who cash that would have been making $26 on their buy-in. You know?
because all they care about is being in the top
Correct.
5%.
Yes,
so,
correct.
like, yeah.
And also, I think that, again, like I haven't looked at the bounty payout structure or anything like that, but it strikes me as odd that they needed the field to get all the way down to 5% in order to have a bounty payout structure this top heavy for it to work. Because once you get down to 15%, that's 85% of people's bounties that are dead.
Yeah.
Now I understand like a lot of that is going up to the top 2 million or half of the bounty prize pool that's allocated, but reducing like the bottom bounty from 1K to 600 isn't going to be that big of a deal to people who pluck it either, right? Like
How many people make day 2 of like the mystery bounties at the win and stuff like that? What percentage?
it's in the money. You play to in the money.
Oh, okay.
That's why I think I'm taking so much issue with this. Is because
the win is just the greatest poker room. Like they run their shit so well.
Yeah, they're also doing it at a much smaller scale.
Yes, yeah, no,
and they're not guaranteeing.
No, and this is a cool ass thing, and it's new for WSOP and all that. Like I don't even.
But I agree with you. You should be emulating what already exists and improving upon it to make it better, not deteriorating it and making it worse.
I mean, I don't know if it's that much worse, except you didn't make it today too.
No, that part's true, but I'm thinking less about myself and more so. This field's mostly rec heavy, right? So when you're talking about, call it 65-70% of the field being competitive recreationals that already have a less than even money chance of cashing, let alone making day 2, you're really compounding negative interest on their behalf. And it's just a bad playing experience. They play till 2:30 in the morning. They don't get to pluck a bounty. Mm-hmm. Everybody makes day 2 with 7 big blinds.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like the worst version of a lottery for the people who are trying to get lucky.
Yeah. 5% for that is too few. That for the housewarming, I think it's good. Like for a big degenerate shit fest like
Because day
that.
2 means nothing.
But but being exactly. There's no difference between 2 and 1 essentially, except they fucked up the payouts. But yeah, this I agree with that. That more wrecks and people having the experience of coming back with a chance to get a bounty, doubling the amount of people who have that experience. Would have been a good move. I mean, I don't know. They maybe just copied this. Who the hell knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm just of the impression that you would make if you gave 5% or more of the field the opportunity to at least pluck a bounty, and that entire 5% plucked the minimum, I still think that they're a lot happier than never having had the shot.
How heartbroken are you? You really thought you were going to get the million. You knew you were going to get the million. He knew.
Bro,
all summer, all fall.
This got talked about on WhatsApp.
I mean, to be fair, I gave up on that hope very quickly once I played it once I played one
to
singular
be fair,
flight.
I became a Mizrag as soon as I sat down for the first hand.
It wasn't that. It was just I knew I wasn't going to invest any more time or energy into the event. Like
You
I was super
really-
excited because I expected it to be an okay structure.
You didn't look at it? You were that excited, confident in winning the million? And you didn't
I had
peep
no
the
idea it
structs?
was 30-minute levels day one. I had no idea that it was going to be the housewarming. I skipped the Colossus and another weekend event that mirrored the 500 housewarming structure because I think it's so bad. I just, whatever. Like, you only have so many hours to put into this throughout the summer. It's like, I'll take 3 days off over trying to grind out 1850 hourly all day long.
I mean, dude, I'm so sorry that they've beaten you down like this. This is not. This is really. This is fucked up.
It's not about that. It's we spoke about this a couple episodes after you were on last, where or maybe it was even the episode that you were on, where I was saying it was the episode you were on. I was saying that the motivations have diverged more than they ever have in the past, right? For the better part of a decade and a half, pros and amateurs alike had very similar ambitions. It was strive to be great, strive to be known, strive to be, I guess, like in the public eye on TV. All these ancillary things that come with being good at this game, and money will follow. And I think that in the last 5 years or so, professionals have become very sharp to the fact that there's no additional benefit to any of the other stuff like TV or all the sponsorship money dried up. There's no reason to be known. You're much better off being anonymous and just grinding out a better hourly. So for this subset, it's really down to quantitative bottom line. And I think that the amateur has still maintained the dream and the vision of what to aspire to. But that makes a really weird conundrum now whenever these big festivals like the World Series come up. Because obviously they have to cater to the recreational. That's their number one customer. It keeps these festivals growing. It keeps the numbers up and everything else. But the recreationals listen to this small subset that's trying to increase their hourly, right? They listen to us to be talking pieces and mouthpieces for the industry. So like when we say the structure's shit, they say the structure's shit.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I guess like the overarching point that I'm trying to get to is that, and this will lead me into the next point of discussion, is that I think that even though WSOP has always been very receptive to criticism and open to hearing the voices of pros and trying to steer the ship a little bit, I think that they're digging their heels in a little bit too much, at least from what I've noticed over the last few years, and trying to become the Venetian deep stack. Way too much.
Which is what? Marketing primarily to Rex and not listening to the pros? Or what do you mean?
More so just like massively diluting bracelet events as a whole.
Why would you ever want to become like the Venetian, though? Let me just say, that's the worst plan ever. If fuck
because
the Venetian.
for a period of time, it worked. For a period of time, the Venetian outperformed the WSOP at a certain price point, right?
I didn't know that.
If you're talking about like sub one, well, for a very long period of time, the cheapest buy-in at WSOP was $1,500, with the exception of the ladies event and seniors event.
I am the dilution of it. Like winning in a parking lot and then going deep in the 400 Colossus. The first year was 400. I represent diluting
You're a man
the
of the
value.
people.
I'm a man of the people and a man of the bracelets, meaning less and less, but they still mean a lot.
You're the generic WSOP winner, if you will. You're bottom shelf DePaulo.
Bottom shelf DePaul. I like that. Except I'm final table main. But anyway, it's crazy. But so
sorry, not
like
to tangent too hard. But I think honestly, the dilution of bracelets isn't that much based on how many uniques are in poker these days.
That
Right?
part I agree with is being true. When I'm saying dilution, I'm saying the overall experience as well.
Yes. I think what the main thing that you're touching on is the experience and how each individual person across the distribution that's playing the tournament is going to feel at the end of the tournament.
Yeah.
I need you to interpret what he's saying more often, because that's a very much more.
Yeah. So like they did something very good, which was paying out 15% of the field instead of 10. That made a lot more people feel good about their experience, right? They got a refund.
Not
basically.
at 10-26, maybe. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I
in
agree.
general, right? But where I think that they're kind of missing the mark is that they've leaned too hard into trying to capture that Venetian market, right? So for a long period of time, they just said, whatever, let these side casinos do their thing. If they want to cater to the 100 to 1K buy-in people, let them. But then they saw like 2018, 2017, the Venetian deep stacks blew the fuck up. And there were days where like their 1K was outperforming a 1500 at the World Series.
Oh shit.
And at that point, they stepped in and said like, no more. We're going to start to cater to this level. They also saw the success of the first couple Colossuses, right? So now all of a sudden they're like, okay, well, we need to get this lower price point in there as much as possible. And it's gotten to be, in my opinion, too much, because with the lower price point comes worse structures, comes trying to just churn, right? You're trying to get people in the seat, out of their seat, back in line, and back in their seat. And now we see 2 of these events a week. Every single weekend is one of these events, right? It's becoming the bulk of the no limit schedule that anybody gets to play. And we start to see them, in my opinion, lose sight of the bigger goal, which is selling that dream to recreationals that winning a bracelet is the most coveted thing in the world, right? Instead of winning the equivalent of a daily tournament with 10,000 runners in it. And I guess that carries me into them just not listening to the overarching crowd. They made a huge blunder with the main event, man. You cannot allow somebody to scout their table and unregister, or scout their table and just by default have their chips pulled from the system and get into a late register.
know
Well, what are you talking about, guys? Yeah, fill me in.
So they tweeted yesterday, for anybody who had pre-registered for 1C or 1D, their chips would not be in play. And if they hadn't sat by the end of level 2, they would just then go back into a late registration line. Now, this had been happening all series. I had known about it from...
Which means you get a new table, guys, listening.
Yes.
The people out there.
I had known about it from maybe a 3K event or something like that I registered the night before and ended up showing...
Wow, your Shadow Shady crew told you about this tip a while ago, you're saying?
No, I didn't like scout my table or anything. I just did the podcast first, as I do, and showed up late and my seat had been pulled. I'm like, oh, okay, this is weird. And I didn't really think anything of it because, it was like the 1500 monster. Mm-hmm. So it's like, whatever, nobody's scouting a table in the fucking 1500 monster. But like when you advertise it, it was never advertised at that point. It just kind of happened. Now you advertise it for the main event, the highest EV event on anybody's calendar all year long. And you're basically saying like the majority of the time, you're probably going to get a soft table in this event because it's that soft. However, if you're sharp and you have somebody go scout your table for you, or you happen to do a walk by if you're not very well known, and you see that you're in a pretty shit situation, just dip out. Skip the first 2 levels. We'll redraw you, and now you have a chance at getting a better table.
Even if you are known, even if I were to know of this, I would go walk by and then be like, oh, I gotta take a shit and call my fiance, whatever. I would just fuck you. These are the rules. I don't like Matt Waxman tweeted below in the thread. I don't blame any player for taking advantage of this. This is their fault.
Yeah.
WSOP, they shouldn't, I guess, advertise it, but it's sort of our response to it, making it clear. Like, I could see a rec reading that and being like, what's the exploit here?
Right.
And also, people don't know what's a sharp table or not. Well, that's not true. Everybody knows. You just look at the ages. If you know nothing else, you look at how old everyone is.
Yeah.
Everybody, I think everybody, even old people don't prefer to play with old people,
Yeah.
They
That's why the Super Seniors event had record numbers.
Yeah. You see a bunch of scarves, you fucking bail.
Yeah. Exactly. That's the biggest thing, is that there's a certain player profile that probably makes up, 7 to 15% of the field as a whole, that if you see 3 or 4 of them at your table, you're not happy.
Did you sit right away at your table yesterday?
Did.
Tell us, is this the time to ask about your day yet or not
Yeah,
yet?
this is probably a good time.
This is probably a good time.
I should have ducked my table.
Huh? You should have ducked your
I
table?
should have ducked my table. Not because it was a bunch of killers, but it was probably the lowest EV table within eyeshot. €3, 3 young American pros, and a guy in his 80s who VPIP 3% and only limped. Bro, this guy was a peach. He played, I lasted 2 levels plus an orbit, and this old man VPIP'd exactly 4 hands. He limped 3 of them, and the 4th one, he opened under the gun for 8x.
Oh my god.
He got all folds and goes, I hate this fucking hand.
And
Aces.
jacks.
Obviously.
Always.
100%.
That's like the meme I said. It's like, yo, every time someone does some hand history, I'm like, yo, you're playing this like a jacks.
It's
old man. It's
remarkable.
the most. It's like every time Ace or King comes, that guy's a living meme. That's like an AI bot. Like Russia made that man to do that.
Yeah.
That's literally the meme I joke about, and he did it in the main event.
Yeah.
It's like raise 7x with jacks because Ace or King always comes on the flop, and it's like, yeah, okay, great, well played. You're getting value.
It's truly remarkable that in 2022,
I hate this hand.
It's still jacks. It exists.
I'm sorry you only had one guy like that at your table. That sucks. That's how I felt last year when I got moved my first main, but we'll get to me in a bit. But I felt like, am I the only one having a tough table? I don't understand. Everybody is saying how ill the main is.
Yeah.
My table was hard last year, and I was like, this is fucking brutal.
And don't get me wrong, like if this were any other tournament, I would be like, this is a pretty good table draw. Like, sure, I'm around people who clearly study some and have an idea of what they're doing, but I'm not at a table with like Makita and Elio Fox and a bunch of high rollers.
Right.
I'm going to be able to be just fine.
Yes.
But the bigger point, like level 1, I set over set a European kid, an English kid. And it's a board texture where, it's draw heavy, but it's relatively dry. Jack 6-5. I have 6s in the big blind. He has 5s.
Mm-hmm.
So I text the group, just kind of not even bemoaning, but basically trying to demonstrate how hidden variance really impacts the EV of this event.
You made this negative?
No, it's not negative. It's just I'm trying to
You made
demonstrate.
this negative even?
He made it negative.
I'm trying to show.
Don't be afraid
It's
of him.
negative. No, I'm not afraid. Berkey.
like,
I can
even
beat the shit out of him.
He could beat the shit. He's my
I'm his bodyguard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I got a guy half
don't
my
fucking
size.
touch him, Paulo.
I got a guy half my size to be my bodyguard.
Yeah.
No, but basically, like, you know how there are ways that you get lucky and get unlucky, and it's not very obvious to you in the moment. This is one of those times where it was very obvious to me in the moment, and
No shit. Anybody could see set over set. No disrespect, Matt. That's any fucking...
I had the good end of it.
I know. I'm saying anybody sees set over set and knows that's luck over luck.
Yeah,
Nobody. That's
right,
not like
of
a
course.
complex example of variance.
I'm saying this is
Of,
an
like, luck distribution.
I'm saying this is an unlucky spot for me.
Your big fancy words.
No,
Unlucky. What? He turned quads?
Just
No,
wait.
listen.
Fuck! I can't listen. All right, fine.
So if Guapo, pull up that image I shared with you.
It's like, not that one. Not the cup.
If you take a look at the average table draw, now let's just analyze this table. Okay, this is the main event, not the super seniors, not the seniors
Oh my
event.
God.
This is 8 recreational guys all getting a massage because they're retired, living the good life, and came to spend $10,000 and have a pleasant experience. Right?
God.
If I get that table, there is a 0% chance that I don't double up in this set over set hand. 0%.
Oh yes.
I 100% of the time will double. And here's why. If I got that hand at that particular table we just showed, what would have happened is the man who had a set of 5s would have c-bet for roughly 80% pot.
Well, give or take. Yes.
Instead of 25% pot.
Yes.
I would have been able to check raise massive.
Yes.
He would have then 3-bet shoved for fear that I have hearts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I would have called him won and doubled.
Yes.
Instead, I'm against a relatively young, sharp British man who bet quarter stack that I now have to execute a theory optimal check raise size against, which is only half pot. He, of course, just calls because he's trapping /
Doesn't have 3 bets as or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't really 3-bet this flop.
I don't know if we do, but just he knows that whatever.
Right.
Unlike an old guy's range who's like, got it, 3-bet, fucking protect, whatever.
Now, turn offsuit 7. Some of my bluffs got there. I, of course, have like 4-3 out of the big blind.
Oh,
I,
you're
of
in the big
course,
blind
have
versus
8-9.
what's he? What is he? I'm just curious.
He was a middle position flat caller versus an under the gun opener.
Okay.
So yeah, some of my bluffs now have gotten there. I bet 80% pot. He's obviously just calling at this point.
Yeah.
Bluff catching with bottom set.
Yes.
Rather than being all in if he were 70 and worried about, anything. River, one-liner, 8.
Oh gosh.
I bet 10% pot because I'm a goddamn professional. and he just calls because he's a goddamn professional.
Oh, God.
I win the equivalent of like 18 big blinds instead of doubling up for 300.
This is on one hand, it's very funny and true story that if you were at that massage table, you would have gotten a triple somehow out of one guy. You would have gotten more than all of his chips.
Because the other guy would have had aces, and he would have been protecting his hand.
Yes,
of course.
exactly. Literally, yeah. They would have been like, "Oh, I got it too," or "I got the flush draw. I got the king high flush draw."
Right,
But
he would have just like let out for pot.
Yeah.
The set would have raised.
Right. There would have been extra money in
called,
it.
aces would have ripped. You know, it would have been a good old time for everybody.
So it is unlucky. However, same with the victim Matt narrative that I'm going to come with every time I come here.
Right,
you turn set over set in the main into I'm getting fucked.
Well,
or me.
I mean, to be fair to me, I won less with set over set than I would have with top pair in a normal single raise pot situation.
Wait, what? Say that again.
I said I ended up winning less with set over set.
I
than
know,
right.
but it's still very funny that when you were saying, you tricked me with, I didn't know a victim turn was coming when you're like, look at the distribution of luck variance. I thought you were saying for him, it's unlucky that he got set over set. Not that you got fucked because he's smart at poker.
It's also very unlucky for him. But the point I'm trying to convey is how much EV is actually
the table draw
attributed to your table draw,
Massive.
and the fact that somebody who's relatively sharp, could cherry pick.
I'm trolling you, but yes,
right. Like
this is a huge thing, especially in a tournament where people are not busting very frequently at all, right?
Our table had 0% chance of breaking, and fewer than 3 people were going to bust.
Yeah. So that's what I was getting. Yeah. So it's like you really are stuck with that table, just like unlike any other tournament people at home may play. And in my before last year was the first main event I played. These are the only 2 times, other than drawing a low number table on day 2.
Yeah.
But even then, that's churning with people busting.
Yeah, for sure.
That you're with the same group of people for the whole day. It really, people always say table draw matters in the main, especially, and I'm seeing that now. It's super big.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Like at the end of the day, my EV gets cut small. Right, like
you're so great. I mean, you could beat anybody.
It's not that. I don't know what my ROI is in the main, but my whole point is like it probably only goes down like 0.1. Well, like whatever my ROI is, if it's
0.1, how can it be not massive?
Sorry, like 10%.
Oh, you mean from what it is in general and
yeah,
entering the main? I'm sorry.
If my ROI is like 70%, it probably goes down to 60.
Oh, I understand. Okay, I'm sorry.
Whereas like if it's a good table draw, it might go up to like 100.
Oh, I thought you were so cocky. You were saying 0.1%.
No.
It goes from 70 to 69.9.
I was thinking of it in terms of markup. Like if I could sell at 1.7, it's probably only worth 1.6. So it's not like this is like inevitably why I bust or anything along those lines. It's just more so that like
so everybody know that you got fucked. Everybody needs to know.
It's not even that I got fucked. It's just that what I'm basically trying to shine a light to is that like if I had absolutely no moral compass and no soul and walked into the room and saw this exact table, because it stuck out like a sore thumb. Like if you would have walked in and saw the 10 tables surrounding it, you would just be like, oh, okay, I hope I'm just not at that one table.
I don't think it would have been immoral at all of you to do the exploit and leave. Like Matt Waxman said, it's on the same with tanking on the bubble. I think it's on the tournament.
I think it
directors,
is on the tournament too.
Especially when I'm backed. It's not my fucking money. Like it's like I have a responsibility almost to them to do the most EV things. Within the rules, right, that are not cheating, not anything. It's just that an exploit that like the tournament setup has allowed. I have a responsibility to them to fucking do it, you know?
But I'm not going to say it's like not immoral.
It's not immoral, but I don't think it's that clear.
Area.
Yeah, it is great. I would agree with that. With that. I think because it is, and if you do the Kantian ethics, like if everybody did this, it would really suck.
Correct.
Right? You can't just like allow this.
But honestly, maybe I might be coming around to your way of thinking. For the longest time, I very much promoted that like when these gray areas present themselves as the professionals, it's our duty to lean into the ethics and lean away from what the rules excuse. But I might just be coming around full circle and saying like, no, if we want to see a correction take place, we should all just take advantage of the rule.
Correct.
Until somebody does something. And I think that's starting to happen with tanking. Tanking's become like so casually accepted amongst professionals.
Yeah.
That you're just a fool to not participate. And I'm still that idiot who's burning EV all the time, saying like, what's the matter with everybody? Why are you guys doing? And I understand why. Because it's just worth a lot of money.
Right. It's gray, and I don't want to do it. And Josh Ari was saying about, got to play with him, and he's super nice in the 1K, like super turbo, and he's like, I wouldn't do it or advise anyone to do it in like low buy-ins for what are mine. And then I was like, that's a good criteria for me. I wouldn't want to ruin it. I'm on a table of all wrecks, the 500 freeze out.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. But like at the 3K6 max, one of the higher
But maybe
buy-ins for
we
me.
should.
No, maybe we should
do it in one case.
just to get it
Yeah,
through.
because at that point,
I
like,
should really, because it's not my money. Again, I probably should have.
Right.
It's probably more immoral for me to not have. Like, you know what I mean? Instead of worried about how I look to people at the table.
Yeah.
That's fucked up to my backers. If I could, like, maybe. But anyway, there's a spot when it's enough money, I'll do it. I hate sitting there acting like I'm thinking. I hate tanking live. Like online, at least it's set for you how long you can tank for. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, you used to think that. I mean, it's like again. These
I thought we could lead by example,
immoral.
and I disagree now.
Huh?
I thought we used to be able to lead by example, but now I disagree. I think that the rule is just too exploitable, and there are too many people who are bottom line conscious to ever follow by example.
Well, you can lead by example in things that are not clearly making money. I don't think that.
I agree with that.
Like when there's a thing that's clearly printing money, there's no example that can be shown to people.
Like treating people better at the table,
yeah,
treating
that
dealers
shit.
nicer,
Being nice to
stuff
the
like
dealer,
that.
not tanking, not like waiting to look around the table, get your cards pre-flop. Like I'm sure to act right away when I'm at a table with a rat. Like lead by example in little ways like that.
Yeah.
But when it's stuff that's clearly making money, I don't think you can change people.
It's so difficult because I can come up with a situation right now, and you guys being from the East Coast, this is going to go into like slightly dangerous territory, but you know,
Apollo lives
the
there.
Hasidic Jews in New Jersey and New York, they take advantage of the tax system a lot, and what they end up doing is like buying out entire towns. So it'll be like 5 or 6 families that'll live in one house, and they all collectively live in that one house. And what ends up happening is they're really, at least in my experience, they're nasty to all their neighbors. Mm-hmm. They're nasty to everybody outside of their like tribe. Inside their tribe, they're just brutally loyal to everybody. And then it gets their neighbors to move out. And it's happening in the town next to my hometown, where they're slowly doing that. And they'll do things like for tax stuff, they'll get married and then divorced and then take advantage of all the tax loopholes that exist there. And I know I'm going a very...
But that kind of stuff I don't think matters.
That's a great analogy, actually.
It's
I think it's
case.
a perfect analogy, honestly, because this is a fact. We're not being anything anti-Semitic, whatever. I love Jews. I love your women, Israel, whatever. But like, they do that, and that's fucked up. But they could say the same argument I'm saying, where it's
Correct.
like, yo, fix the... I hate the play, not the game. Hate the game, not
we need
the play,
to fix
whatever.
the system. And this and I'm not talking about like the government system. I'm like the actual poker system needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
Really, really badly. And I think this happens at work all the time, where someone gets overloaded with a ton of work, you know, like conventional desk jobs. They get overloaded with a ton of work, and what they end up doing is they work overtime, but they don't get paid for it.
Right.
Instead of just saying, no, I'm not going to fucking do the work.
Salary workers are specifically like targeted in this particular instance.
Exactly.
And they're already like working for on the margin, right? Like they could easily
Yes.
justify a higher salary already, but they're afraid of job security.
Yes.
So they make compromises basically on their bottom line and then get overloaded with
Exactly.
additional work. Like they're working 2,500 hours a year instead
And
of 2K.
this happened to my ex, and I was like, you have to let the system break. Everything can't hinge on a single person.
Right.
Like, have a system that actually makes sense. And the only way to do that is to let the system fucking break. And in this case,
Anarchy.
letting the system break is leaning into, just you see a bad table, later.
Yeah, I wonder... I wonder where the impact comes first, because people have complained about the high roller scene forever, but they have shot clocks, right? And they still complain that it's paced too slow. So I don't think that anything that happens at the televised tables, the higher up televised tables, is going to be impactful. I honestly think that like it's going to be a few hundred professionals in a field of a few thousand, like the bounty or whatever the case may be, that literally just take minutes pre-flop because they understand that there's way greater EV. This is generic to most MTTs, not necessarily to these super soft fields, but in general, the EV of tanking is greater than anybody's strategy being employed. Now, obviously, that changes when you're in a super weak field. Your EV of being able to outplay people is worth a lot more.
Right.
But generally speaking, like especially poor structured
or if you're
field,
deep enough and you're not going to bust stupidly, maybe, but you still can't prevent. That's the point. Is fading getting
even
cooler.
once you get into ICM, like tanking becomes even more.
Of course, I'm only
compounded.
talking about in the bubble. Like, yeah, I mean, like you're only talking about nearing the bubble, right?
No.
Like the
hand
whole
one.
Oh God, no.
Hand one, tanking has a lot of EV. If for instance you're playing like a 3500 WPT,
Don't tell
event,
them that. I don't want that out there.
you got to break the
No,
system.
I'm sorry.
man.
Go ahead.
If you're in like a 3500 WPT where it's call it like a 65-35 mix between pros and recs. And in general, like the cream is going to rise to the top. It's going to be a relatively tough final 3 tables. There'll be some recreationals and some dead money, but like if you're not in the top 1%, you're like not, you don't have much ROI in this field, right? The EV of tanking will almost certainly be greater than your overall average ROI.
Oh yeah,
from hand one, right? Just because
less
survival
hands,
in tournaments, there's ICM throughout the entire tournament. We just can't calculate it early, right? And the problem is like this goes all the way back full circle to why I brought this topic up to begin with. Operators aren't listening. Well, they're not privy to strategy, right?
But I don't think anybody's employing a strategy of tanking from the start. Honestly.
Some aren't.
I don't think anybody's smart. I think all the players who are smart enough, well, maybe now it's become rampant enough that it's spreading, but anybody who's smart enough to know to tank properly is waiting until the bubble.
I was at a table in the 1K bounty with a European kid who had 13 big blinds and started tanking. I busted 250 from the money, and he started tanking 2 hours prior to that happening. Every decision pre-flop.
Well, he's probably not that smart, maybe, but
he outlasted me. What do you mean? He's very smart.
I don't know.
His EV off 13 blinds is to tank.
That's far from the money.
Hands.
I guess fine.
You bust faster off 13 blinds the more hands you're dealt.
Yeah, I know. I guess there is no too soon to tank.
And nobody else is slowing their pace of play. So he's gaining the EV from all of the outside tables.
I would clock him if I have a big again, I operate what's in my best interest. If I'm short, I'll tank a bit, and then if I'm deeper and I want to play, or if the table's weak and it's €1 who's tanking, I'll call clock pre-flop.
I don't want to get into this argument.
Yeah, sorry.
Again.
Let's hear about how you got fucked more, man.
No.
I want to hear how you got fucked.
All I was gonna say, my final point to that is that it's just not as practical as you think to clock. We were.
Oh my god, we're not. All right.
Yeah. Clock. Let's not go into this.
It's just not.
But, there is a point, like, even if you call clock every single fucking time, it's going to take longer than every other table.
That's my point. It's like he's tanking, but he's taking 45 seconds pre-flop.
Yeah. Every time I've jokingly or called clock pre-flop because everyone's going slow pre-flop, the table speeds up. They get the message.
And to be fair, the entire table was playing very fast.
Yeah. So
he was just trying to correct for that himself.
How did you get fucked?
I didn't.
How did you bust the main?
No, I think the overarching message that we're trying to say is these structures need to be fucking fixed because the instructors are encouraging this type of play.
To some degree.
Well, really, originally the table loophole is what we were talking about that led us to tanking as another format of that, right? Those are the two major things right now that we can think of that are like, it's on them to fix. If we're exploiting it, we're just going to exploit it.
Yeah.
So you... After yesterday, like today, if you were to go and have the same experience, you would do the table redraw exploit.
I still don't think I would. It's just not my character.
You just feel too dirty doing it?
Yeah. I feel like I've been
that.
around long enough where it's like if I'm not willing to take on whatever random challenge is thrown my way, then...
Yeah.
But also, I recognize that I'm the idiot for saying that, right? Like, I'm the one who's... Maybe it's tens of dollars, maybe it's hundreds of dollars in EV that I'm lighting on fire, but I am lighting some amount of money on fire by taking that stance. And I'm just accepting of it, but it's not... It's silly for me to be accepting of it, I think. And that's a hard thing for me to justify saying because I truly do believe in the spirit of the game and the ethics of the game and it being a gentleman's arrangement or agreement that we all adhere to a certain... I come from baseball where there's an entire list of unwritten rules.
Yeah.
Right? And there is just like certain ethics that you apply to the game.
Like don't ask, don't tell type of stuff?
Yeah, a lot of that going on.
Ass slapping in the locker
but like
rooms.
the idea of like it being bush league, so to speak. That's the idea of going against the unwritten rules of the sport, and we just see it in poker all the time because EV is quantified in dollars, whereas in baseball EV is quantified in runs or outs or whatever the case, and it's not significant enough to make you go against the spirit of the game. But money drives people. Money's a motivator, right? You're in this game to make bottom line, no matter if you're in it professionally, recreationally, whatever. Of course, there's a lot of emotional and enjoyment aspects that are attached to all of that. But the whole reason why I'm bringing this up and the whole reason why I want to have the discussion is just because I don't think operators are listening enough. I don't think that they understand how much strategy influences structures, buy-in levels, rake, all of this stuff now. Things that, sure, 5 years ago, the community was not sensitive to at all. Run whatever fucking event you want, we'll all show up in droves. Right? And still to this day, everybody's showing up in droves, but they're grumbling a lot more.
Or info we need to fucking know, like how far from the money we are.
Correct.
Like that you guys were talking about is a major issue, that they're not announcing the prize pools, the payouts.
I think it was on purpose.
Dude, I was in the housewarming though. We were well in the money. They didn't have the fucking prize pool together.
I know.
Sorry, I keep cursing. I know this is a PC show and very woke, but no. Like, until 1.5% of the people were left, like literally, and then no one knew how much they were cashing for at that moment.
And
they
that
didn't know
says
when
two
the jump
things.
was. That sucks.
That says two things. Number one, that says that
There's no
WSOP feels like the pay jumps are so insignificant that you don't need to know.
Meanwhile, it's all Rex in the home warm, like
Right, but if the jumps are that insignificant, then we should just do something to change the payout structure. Because like one of my biggest gripes about that housewarming event was that it was way too steep at the final table.
Yeah,
like
it was.
If you're gonna say that from 15% down to 1%, the jumps are so insignificant people don't even need to know the payout structure.
Is that their official
I don't think
stance?
that's
No,
why
but
he made.
I don't know.
Their
Posting
official
it.
stance was like, "Oh, we've made a mistake and got to go do accounting real quick in the back." That's their
I don't even think that is the reason why they're doing it. I think they're doing it because they're trying to just like facilitate the game faster.
Yes, for sure. On
Really,
Bubba.
I think they just messed up the
I
housewarming.
think they messed up the housewarming.
They just
but I
made a
think
mistake.
since
It
then-
definitely could be.
and needed time to recalculate.
But
it.
I think since then they've been messing up bubbles of these major events on purpose.
Right. Like, and you guys said this is not the long-term solution, but they're just trying a solution to mitigate tanking.
So this is the thing. If we're willing to accept that it's within the rules for us to table select, should we then criticize them for saying like, look, this is our way of solving the stalling issue. We're just not going to post the bubble until we're on it.
I don't know. I want to hear more about how you got fucked, though. That's all I want to know.
I didn't get fucked.
You know, this is the.
I just played.
I know you said like, this is the invisible hand that controls whether or not poker does well or not. Well, I don't think
term.
it's not that. Yeah,
Long
correct,
term, yes.
correct. Because what you're doing is you're just mining people's experiences.
Correct.
And you're determining how people on the average are going to feel after these
And
tournaments.
online does an amazing job of this.
Online does fantastic.
Watch how fast look how fast they evolved into PKOs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It happened overnight and it's now the standard. It's industry standard for the majority of a schedule to be a PKO.
Yeah, ACR literally in our meeting, they're just like, what do you guys like? What are your people saying you like, ambassadors? And we're like, they like this, they like this, we like,
Right.
you know, and then they just start doing it.
So they adapt because they have to, because they're all vying for a very small share of market, or I should say they're all vying for a very small acquisition rate or a very expensive acquisition rate. Either way. Live is spoiled.
You want to know?
It's slow.
Sorry, a funny example, just real quick. Like at the 15-minute $1 million bounty turbo one, I max late reg, and a guy next to me sat down. He busts the first hand ace queen to ace king, and he goes, "I waited 2 hours in line and 1K for this. Fuck." He was
Such a
so
miserable
upset.
experience.
Yeah, so miserable. Such a miserable
I
experience.
think that's kind of unavoidable, though.
I know, because you say you don't want to
well,
turn people away, but why?
The 2 hours is what's miserable.
2 hour
about it.
wait is that.
I agree with, and I think that so that was the whole early part of this discussion that I was having. I think that's fixed by raising the price point. I think it's crazy that we keep getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper to facilitate 20,000 person fields.
I do that when I play Roller Coaster Tycoon a lot. I'll just raise the price, like, or Planet Coaster.
Yeah.
The lines are long. Just raise the prices so only the rich can come. Fuck you guys.
Not
I
but I don't think
disagree.
that's a great solution.
Again, I think we're operating in an analog world, an analog way.
And
but
you're a
it's
material
digital
girl.
world.
That's
right?
true.
Like-
I agree with that.
We need to be evolving.
I don't think digitizing anything solves the line problem.
What? Why?
How?
What do you?
They're
How,
waiting
what?
to be seated.
What? You can
Why
have a
can't
QR
that be
code and they
digital?
scan it, bro.
What are you going to
What?
digitize?
Get a QR code on your phone and then they just scan it at the table.
What is it? Wait, I don't
To
understand
give you
how.
chips, if you pre-reg, you get your
or
Bravo
even
ticket.
optimization of
There's
sending
gotta
people
be
to
ways.
tables
You don't
and
believe in
stuff, like,
technology,
instead
bro?
of-
Wait, you think that this is an issue? You think they're waiting in line while there are open seats?
No, of course not. But I think that there's a massive lag time between seating and an open
I promise
seat.
you it's not.
Or the ticket buying line.
The ticket buying line has been a great experience this year.
No, for the last flight of the $1 million bounty, it was
That's because Bravo crashed.
right. Whatever. So anyway,
Yeah, there's going to be hiccups, but generally
people want to
speaking,
know about you getting fucked.
I didn't get fucked. I just lost.
I don't even know. I haven't looked at the chat. They may be like, please don't tell us. I actually don't know.
I do know that he 5-bet with queens, and this is how
promised
good
he
this
wouldn't?
table was.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
The guy folded.
Yeah,
Like, what a
imagine
fucking
5-betting queens on
nightmare
day one.
Table. He 5-bet queens. Huge mistake in the main event. Don't ever do that. And the guy folded.
Hey, he had a 4-bet bluff.
Normally, it's that you fold to 3 bets with queens.
Yo, I just am learning the main strategy newly now, but I think you didn't stick to your game plan, right? From what I heard.
No, I did.
You said you weren't going to get saucy too much. You said that.
I
You
didn't
said those
have-
words to me, Matthew.
I didn't have
you
a
said,
bunch
I'm
of
not going to get
80-year-old
saucy
men.
too much, and you got saucy.
I didn't get saucy. I didn't bluff once. I literally lost 0 chips bluffing.
All right, but
I
were
just
you
had
a
the
little
worst
too
of it.
wide pre-flop? A little bit?
No.
A little bit too wide on turns,
I opened
raises.
ace-10 suited, got called by the same kid who had a set of 5s earlier, and the small blind also called.
Bad play already.
Came Jack-10-4, 2 diamonds. I have an ace-10 of spades. Checks to me. I check back. Turn, offsuit 5. Small blind checks. Kid who had set over set or set under set versus
Okay,
me
we know
earlier.
who the kid is, yeah.
Leads pot. I call. River 10.
Wait, Jack 10, 4, 10?
Jack 10, 4, 5.
Jack 10, 4, 5, 10.
2 hearts.
Yeah.
Or 2 diamonds.
Or whatever, yeah.
He leads pot. I call. River 10.
All right.
Good card.
Good card.
Yeah.
He bets 175% pot.
Oh.
A lot of missed draws.
He's
I
not
call.
supposed to have that sizing in the main event.
No,
Well, I'm saying
you're not used
a
to seeing
regular
it, but he
person.
has it.
Yeah.
I call. He has 5s full.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Of what? 5 what?
5s full with 10s.
5-5.
5, 10?
5-5.
Yes, 5-5.
Oh,
There's a
I'm an
5 on the
idiot.
board.
I was like, wait, what? 5, 10? Why do you play 10, 5?
How do you have fucking chips?
Me?
Yeah,
I'll
you're
tell you the
brain
story
dead.
in a moment. I'm just no. Hearing verbal hand histories, it's like there is a game to it where people who are smarter than me are one speed above me. I need
One?
to go, maybe multiple, but I'm like talking
Jesus.
to
Bro,
Dan,
we're an Italian
guys
import
just-
over here, and you're a
just
Ford Fusion.
Fucking fight.
Dan Lazarus. He's like, I'm like, yo, please go at half speed, telling me this hand on the phone, man. Well, so then what else? How else you? How many chips was that at that point? You
The
start
river
with
bet was
60K.
12.5, and I had 35,000 at that point.
Okay, so then how did you dust those off?
Well, prior to that happening, I had doubled this young man, where he opened, cutoff called, button called. I squeezed 9-10 suited from the small
Oh,
blind.
this is where you were getting saucy. They were saying they were
That's not
snitching
saucy,
you out.
this is correct.
Saucy.
This is just
You
correct.
said you wouldn't do this.
I actually would have stacked off had I not squeezed.
Like 200 bigs deep. This is correct. I don't know. You know, Cat.
More.
I don't.
Way more. This is level 2. I had 75K.
Oh.
You have infinite chips still.
Button covered.
I don't know deep stack like pre-flop ranges.
You
until,
literally can do everything, and
Oh,
it's
cool.
just fine.
Okay.
That's not entirely
Implied
true.
odds.
That's
Because
not
you tell
entirely
yourself,
true,
I'm
but-
not going to lose. I'm not going to dust it post flop. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's not entirely true, but like you have a linear 3-bet range when you're squeezing. Like people are calling too wide. Hijack's not supposed to have
I
that
don't know
many
where
calls.
10-9 suited fits in a linear range
What do you mean? Do you know how linear works? It populates downward.
like this.
Well, right, but a range isn't just straight. That would only be pairs. You've seen a range chart
You know
before.
what I'm
right?
saying, though, but that's a little too far down what I picture it being.
Well, just think
Too far down?
Think when you start at 0% and you start to sliding.
No,
it
I
over,
understand, but isn't that like wide?
That's your linear.
No.
I know what the fuck linear means. I just mean, isn't that part of like a bluff-ish part of your range? Like,
Well, yeah, linear range will have low equity hands.
But 10
Isn't
out
that
If
of
it were Jack 10 suited,
isn't that
would
the
you-
opposite of polar?
No. I mean,
Should it
it's
linear? So
different than
you
polar.
call the bottom part of your linear range the bluff part of your range?
Well, no, it's just your lowest equity hands.
Oh, low equity hand. Or whatever. It's
No,
the
I'd
main
say there's a
event. You
premium,
got to
man.
have queens plus. I'm
No.
I'm fucking around, but
What are
I
you talking- I'm
do.
playing against a bunch of fucking online wizards. This is
Yeah.
just a play.
Okay,
I make it 15 blinds. He 3-bet or he 4-bet small.
it is true you're playing against them. Okay,
Yeah, I make it 15 bigs. The original opener, this young man makes it small 4-bet, folds back to me. I call. And it comes like
out of
queen-
position.
Yeah.
Ew.
What do you want to do, man?
small floor.
Yeah. Anyway.
Fold.
No, it's
Yeah, I
a
can
fold.
fold.
You have such a good hand.
I mean,
No,
he's
but
right,
it's
I
the
can
main
fold.
event, dude. Literally,
No.
I would fold pocket nines here after last year.
I would fold I
Bro, he
wouldn't
has,
fold
he
nines.
has infinite behind. It's fine.
I cover him. He only has.
Are you needling him? Are you just
No,
trolling
I'm
him? You're
serious.
smirking at my
I'm a fucking
low
station,
understanding
though.
of the game. What is your
I'm a
smirks?
fucking station. If I have a suited hand, it's not.
It's the main event, and it can't
If-
be
don't
a
give a
good
shit.
spot. It's
If
a
I-
marginal spot.
If stacks were reversed, I would have folded, but I also probably wouldn't have squeezed. He only had 35K to start the hand, so he was much shorter than me in the button.
Well, then you're not getting the implied. Anyway, I'm fucking around. So I'm sorry. Go ahead. So you call. I don't know. I'd pussy out.
Anyway,
Go.
we get to the flop with 2 SPR, and it comes like queen 10-8, 2 hearts. So I just flop the world. I check. He bets. I have no play but to jam.
Yeah,
He calls with black aces and
Okay.
just holds in a 60-40.
unlucky.
So now we swap stacks.
Are you in his cult? How is that unlucky? You fucked yourself.
I'm a
How
favorite
did he
there.
fuck himself?
I don't know. Somehow.
You realize I'm a favorite there, right?
You're not praying to Satan or the poker gods enough. I know you're a favorite once
No,
you
like
get
a
to the flop.
substantial favorite.
I can't believe you called the 4-bet. Anyway, whatever.
I agree. You can fold to the 4-bet.
and the main, in the main,
You
in the
small
main.
forward though.
What does the main have to do with anything?
You have all the time in the world, right?
What does that have to do with anything?
That because let's do this.
The only argument to folding in situations that is either 0 EV or plus EV, the only argument to deviating and making it exclusively a fold is that the softness of the event is so high in EV that not taking any risk is incentivized. But that wasn't my table.
But you were at a generally bad table, so
Yeah, and I'm
wouldn't
gonna
the
be there all
better
day,
strategy
so,
to
I just have
take
to play
less
theory optimal.
risks day one? Like then you need just wait for your better table draw. People are texting me that Matt Berkey confirmed for trash. No, they didn't say that. I'm joking. That was an unrelated text.
How am I supposed to get through 5 levels and 11 hours of play or 10 hours of play
That is tough.
to get to the better table draw without playing well?
I don't. Whatever. If you want to stay bad, stay bad.
But how big was this 4-bet? Because you said
Doesn't matter. You're out of fucking
does.
position,
Who
Matthew.
fucking cares?
No, he's right. I could definitely fold, but
Against a good player?
well, no, you should fold more against a bad player.
No, I'm saying
I
he
think.
was he was a
Yeah,
competent
it was
kid.
a good player, yeah. But that's more of a reason to call.
What?
A good player is going to have more than just aces.
Right, but then you got to deal with a good player post flop though. I'd
It's
rather
too
know.
SPR. You
But I'd
just
rather
flop
know
your
he
equity
has.
and
All right,
deal.
whatever. Well, I don't know if people give a fuck about hand debates, but everyone should just know that Matt got fucked and fucked himself both.
I mean, yeah, I just win that pot and I bagged 200K.
And then you lost.
I mean,
with
obviously,
aces.
I'm
you lost
exaggerating.
against aces again too, right?
Yeah, I ended up busting, jamming a suited wheel ace on the button versus cutoff open. He just had aces.
Again, why?
What do you mean? It's just
Why
standard.
have 3-bet bluffs in the main?
Because I had 17 big blinds.
Yo.
What
How do
would
I
you
have a
done
better
with
main event
17?
strategy than Matt Berkey? This is
Well-
disappointing.
Why do you keep saying main event, main event, main event? It's a fucking tournament.
All right, let's do the thought experiment that I was doing on the way here, right?
Okay.
And I thought about this a lot after last year. I busted the main, my first live one ever, day one.
This is the difference. This is my 16th.
Okay, right.
I
And
don't have
somehow
this-
you've learned nothing.
I don't. All right. Let's roll through my main event history.
Wait. Let me just tell you before you do that, I'm going to tell you why I'm talking about the main, because of the structure. Just do the thought experiment with me. If there were 1 minute levels, you wouldn't care if you were 500 big blinds deep on hand one. If you had a marginal spot, you'll take it. Versus if it were 7-hour levels, you're not gonna. If you can think you can wait for a better spot, the structure matters.
Define marginal.
Well, I would say 10-9 suited out of position against a good player is below marginal, but yes.
Quantify marginal.
I don't know. Close.
Please.
Like, yes, I agree
guys
with
are gonna
you.
kill me with
I
this.
agree with you.
All right,
in-
right. Sorry, must be killing the listener. Oh, this is stupid.
I agree with you in a good structure.
I'm sorry.
You
No,
pass
let's move on.
zero
Let's move on.
EV
I'm
spots.
sorry. Everyone's probably fucking
Yeah.
blowing their brains out.
I think a lot of people understand both your sides, but it's just
No, his side is such the
I
typical
know,
amateurish
I know,
approach to the main
I know.
event.
I know.
It's like,
I get it.
this
I
is
get
the
it.
biggest event of the year, so I have to play negative EV poker to make sure that I stay in the fucking event.
Yeah. And you know what? If Christian was here and he was sitting in that seat, he was like, well, is Phil Hellmuth still in? He'll
Right.
say something like that.
Right, yeah, of course.
How about your boy? How about Lamanna?
What about him? Yeah, he wouldn't.
He's gonna turtle it up. He wouldn't
He
make
would
any
not
of
have
these
squeezed
plays.
the 10-9 suited. But
How about Ronnie Barta? These other guys who have the cash record. They're
yeah,
nits.
But like what they would do is call the 10-9 suited,
No.
flop the world, and run into bottom set, which is what the button had.
All right. Let me tell you. Fine. I'll tell you. All right. I'll tell you what, Matt.
I had 60% equity instead of 30%
I'm not
equity
talking
because
about
I
the flop.
squeezed.
All right, yo, people are probably blowing their brains out. Or even, is anybody even watching right now? I feel really bad. I'm probably ruining the show, man. I'm
We
sorry.
have 1,200 viewers.
Oh, fuck yeah. Yo, let's go 1,200. Yo, that's what's up, yo. That's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up, yo. That's what's up. So listen, I thought it was still on 167 from when the show started when I just opened it. I was like, damn, I'm really annoying everybody. Fuck, I got to up my performance. All right, so you flopped a set of sixes. And you didn't honor Satan. And this is my story, my day. I don't know if you want to get into this now or whatever. My day one, you want to hear?
You crushed.
Because now you must be very curious.
I can't
How
wait.
an
How a
actual
wizard-
professional deals
How
with getting
I
professional
can't
deals
wait to
with the
hear
main
how you
event.
collected chips against the geriatrics of the world.
Well, no, I was against, actually, it was great. I was placed at a table. I was very nervous for the main because I'm scared to make a mistake. whatever. It's in my head, this massive thing, and very nervous. But anyway, I sit down to Anna Marquez, fellow ACR team pro, is there. And I was like relieved, and it would end up helping me so much on the first break when she like was like, I know all of them. They're cash game players that I've met recently. This guy's this guy's this guy's this. She like confirmed all my like 30% developing like senses of how these guys played. And it was great. None of them cared to preserve their tournament life. They were good poker players, some of them, I think. But some were horrendous. But anyway, the cash game guys don't give a fuck about their tournament life. They were calling me a nit after plays, and I was playing nitty. Anyway, really, though, how my day went was I packed a pentagram tattoo, a temporary tattoo, in my suitcase before I left for Vegas, and I didn't know why I had it. I didn't know why I packed it at the time. I almost wore it for a bit going to play main day 1. Then I flop 3 sets of 6s in the first 2 levels, and my mission became clear for the rest of the main event. That is dedicated to Satan. That I am doing his will. I said I'm not going to give or borrow my soul, but I will do Satan's will and bidding. But I flopped a set of 6s 3 times against a cash game player and got all his chips. So what you're
saying is you're going to sacrifice Landon to the dark side.
I will not sacrifice Landon. I do actually have a thing I wanted to say that Florida, and this is more testament to what Landon has overcome. Just a brief tangent. There's a news story that Florida is short 9,000 teachers. And last year, over 450,000 different Floridian students had unqualified or uncertified teachers teaching them. Even more amazing that Landon came out the star that he is, right?
God bless.
Out of that fucking hellhole that is Florida. What a fucking shit fest. Anyway, so... No, I'm not going to sacrifice Landon.
Well, I just figured if you were sacrificing a virgin to the satanic, demonic side,
you have much to learn. We'll talk off camera. I cannot reveal these ways, but so anyway. But I flopped 3 sets of 6s right away. Got all this guy's chips when I shouldn't have probably. Then just this dude give me all his chips. This old guy opened Jack 10 off in the hijack. He defends big blind because he was sleeping between hands. This old guy. Flop comes King Queen 6. Doesn't matter, 2-tone or rainbow, because it doesn't fucking affect it.
Yeah, he's an open ender. You have a set. Good game.
He donks fucking 80% pot or whatever I call. Turn 8. So king, queen, 6, 8. Check. River 9.
Check. You have a 6? You're 6s?
No. I have Jack 10 off this hand. So I'm up and down. He has unknown donk lead, old man range.
Okay.
So king, queen, 6, 8, 9. Right. He's donk flop. And check turn. Now I river the nuts.
Right.
He leads 5K. I 3x to 15K, and he jams for 32K.
Oh, bye-bye.
And I roll call like, okay, we're chopping. We both have the nuts, and he just turns over a set of 9s and goes home.
Wow.
Like he rivered a set.
Wow.
Yeah.
And instead of just calling, like.
Sure.
So I was getting gifted stacks by the power of Satan. And this is the type of things you manifest when you pump and dump poker. You don't whine about structures on your very important podcast. No, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't mean to needle you. I got very lucky. People gave me their stacks, some of them.
Yeah, that's
Another
what
guy,
happens.
75 big blinds, all in pre-flop. Anna Marquez was like, this guy spazzes. And I was like, thank you for confirming what I thought. I open kings, he 3-bets. I snap jam, and 75 bigs, he snap calls with 9s.
Wow. What?
Yeah, and I have kings, and they hold.
Oh my God.
Pretty easy day.
This is the dream.
Berkey, you suck so much.
This is what the main event experience is for some people.
Yeah.
Well, last year mine was brutal like yours. My first table was great. I was my first main. I was so excited. My first table was what I was told it was, like guys gambling it up. Then I got moved tables to all regs and got coolered a bunch of times in a row. Like, it really had to make hero full, bet, raise, fold. And I was like, what is this main experience people are talking about? But I overplayed some spots, including calling a 4-bet out of position with 9s. When in this year's day 1, I would just fold any marginal spot, fold. Obviously, I got a bunch of sets and ran well, but I'm also more experienced than you. So I think that's the difference in our mains.
I got to tell you, DePaulo, all I'm hearing is
Sunrun.
A lot of copium based off of anecdotal experience.
Yeah, I'm totally fucking around. Yes.
Obviously.
But the 10-9 was really objectively a horrible 4-bet call. But anyway.
I really don't think you get it.
I get it, Berkey.
No, I understand.
I think there's
like
arguments on both sides.
Yeah, that's
mine being the better
you can
one.
make an argument to fold, but like I wouldn't fold
I
at
ain't
this
folding.
table. I would fold at a table of a bunch of recreation.
You think
where-
Hellmuth would fold?
I remember my
Who cares
first.
what Hellmuth would do? He stinks.
I remember my
Wow.
first main. I would fold to 3-bet with ace queen to all 3-bets.
I would fold ace queen in my spot before I'd fold 10-9 suited.
Yeah, I agree to
For
that. too.
sure.
I agree to that
For
too.
sure. But also, like, you know, you have to think about the merit of why you're squeezing and everything else. Like, whatever. It's a side tangent.
It's specifically because your table was so.
Obviously,
so high
my
level.
strategy at that table is going to be very different. But
Very
the
different.
point is
Yeah.
that when we start talking about like it's the main, so there are exceptions to the theory and your strategy, and everything has to change to the main. That's only true when you get a quote unquote main event table.
Right.
Like, yes, you have to cater to your environment.
Right. When you get a set like you got and you're not squeezing anything out of it,
Right.
then you can't treat it like I treated it. Like
Yeah,
it's the
and,
main.
And also, like, my strategy didn't change that much. I was still just trying to blue line. That's, in a nutshell, what all good players are going to do main event day 1 and day 2. Win the blue line war and maximize your value every time you have the opportunity.
So you're saying
because
it's the main?
structure's slow.
You're saying it's the main though now in a different way. You're just saying
Well, I'm saying that the structure is slow enough that you don't earn that much through redlining.
we're saying the same thing.
We're not. You're saying you should pass on plus EV spots because it's the main. I'm saying that I don't need to necessarily.
I would not say plus EV spots. I would say spots where you're unsure if they're plus EV. You may be sure of them, but I'm not in my shoes. Like,
Well,
so
you're going to be unsure of a lot of things.
yes, I know a lot. Like, no, it's true. I know exactly. Yeah, that's objectively.
I'm not even saying things like I'm agreeing with you that I think it's a neutral spot. It's probably 0 EV.
Right. But I wasn't
So
saying
folding is
pass on
fine.
plus EV, but maybe certain ones.
But yeah, like at the end of the day, it's like you don't have to open a pip or two wider if your table doesn't afford it, because trying to redline people to death and accumulate chips that way is nonsensical. Everybody's hundreds of blinds deep and the structure's a crawl. So, you know, play good hands, try to win the blue line. And if you're fortunate enough to be at a table where people are giving it away, maximize that blue line whenever you have the opportunity.
By Satan, that shout out. Actually, I pointed up to him, and someone at my table was like, "You're pointing the wrong way, dude."
That's right.
He's down there.
He's down there.
But yeah, you.
But day 3, day 4, moving day, that's where you really have to pick up the red line. That's where the cream rises to the top. You know, when you start to see people who are rising up the leaderboard and they tend to be more of the professional style, it's because they're leaning on the fact that everybody sees it as still just the main. They're emotionally invested. There's this idea, or there's the, what's the fallacy of being invested? It's the
Sunk
good
cost
money after
fallacy.
bad. Yeah, sunken cost fallacy. Right, so like you just get to prey upon that, but that doesn't exist on day 1.
Yeah.
It does for some people, but in general, like it shouldn't exist.
I'm also was scared as a only ever looking at any studied shit max 75 once, always under 50 bigs. Everything I've ever like thought about basically for more than a second. I know none of the deep stack. Like I know a little bit. I know poker, right? I'm not lost. I know
Sure.
tournament strategy, but
Well,
I
you'd
was
be surprised how much it changes. I
It's
think.
no dramatically enough that I was very scared to put myself in situations that I was very like
Yeah.
unsure of. So like
That's also the tricky thing is when you start studying like 100 big blind poker, 200 big blind poker of that nature, there are going to be board textures, there are going to be lines that you're supposed to take where you just have bottom of range that goes off for stacks, right?
but yeah, I mean,
But you just can't
Well, it's a-
because the value of being in the tournament
Right.
is worth so much, and the overfold occurs by the populace well before the river, right? So that oftentimes that final bet that you're leveraging and assuming is 0 EV because you have enough value to balance it and your opponents are calling correctly, they're actually probably overcalling because they folded so much to the previous bet because they see where the direction this is trending.
Right.
Like when you go 75% pot flop, 1.5x pot turn, people just fold. They just go, well, fuck. Like, I know how this ends. He's going to be all in on the river, and I don't want to make that call. So now they only have traps.
Right.
And you're just shoving into the blade. That's why you play the blue line more on day 1.
So what are you saying though that you don't like agree with about saying it's the main? You're saying so.
I'm saying that you can't go so far as to like overcorrect your pre-flop or flop strategy.
Yeah, I overcorrected pre-flop too much. I think honestly, I folded standard opens, but I wasn't RFI.
But your experience is so different, right? Like if his objective is just to get to day 2 when you're on day 1 of the main event, right? We know it's a marathon. And now we look, what is our best strategy to get to day 2? And it is not to play the same way he would play at your table.
You mean given his table, his
Given
best
his
strategy is
table.
just get to day 2?
Correct.
That was my goal too. I was like, yo, Ryan.
And that's what it should be,
Yeah.
right? You can't win the tournament day 1 or day 2 or 3.
Yeah, yeah.
So literally, it's just attrition, trying to outlast everybody else.
But
it's-
there is
Matt's
an
saying it's
element.
more than
Your
that.
EV, especially as like a good deep stack player, is very high on day 1. That's why we play.
Yeah.
Right. So the idea is that you can get yourself in a pole position more frequently, and yeah, you're not going to win the event based off that. But God, are you going to give yourself a better shot?
But you don't even have that option on your table.
It's less of an option, right? I have to be more chosen at my
Yes.
table. Where at the Paula's table, I might just be able to like not
Correct.
force it, but massage it, so to speak.
Yes,
Wait.
and that's why I'm saying that the strategy on your table is so vastly different than his.
It's much closer to an equilibrium strategy. It
Yes.
just has to be.
It has to.
Well, I didn't even say, people watching probably care. I bagged 188, 18888, 188,
1666.
I wish. I mean, no,
You should just give chips.
he doesn't
back.
care. I'll do the will. But
That's awesome, man.
yeah, no. Which
That's
is you
sick.
start with 60K, so it's 3 people
Yeah.
starting stack. The average stack was like 80K at the end. I'm just saying
Yeah.
this for the.
Yeah. How
think
many,
even less. I think
how
it's
many
like
big ones are you
75.
coming back to?
I don't know. The second level is 1K big, so
Okay.
like I'll have
Yeah,
100.
you'll
I'll
have-
have 200 shortly.
A ton. You could probably call.
I have 2 hours until I
You
only
could
have
probably
200.
call 4-bets with 10-9 suited. Just like,
Only
that-
out of
do that
position
deep.
against a good player.
Yeah, like I've run enough iterations through this main that I kind of understand the recipe. So to give you,
Tell me your experience in your
my
recipe.
history in the main event is I've played it. This is the 16th time I've played it. I've busted on day 1 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
All 4 times, I basically never really got above starting. Now, obviously, this varies. The very first time I played the main event, you got 10,000 starting chips.
Yeah.
And like I busted before dinner, but like you didn't have much of a shot. You started with 100 bigs or 200 bigs, something like that. It was a lot. It was a different
Was it the
structure
same
back
structure?
then.
What was the structure like?
I think we started at 2550.
Oh God, and it's not big blind ante.
No
everything's slower.
ante. Yeah. No ante.
No ante.
10K in chips.
Ew.
Um,
They desperately needed a color up so bad
This
day
is-
5, and it's so
was
tilting
wild.
watching the piles of chips.
It was
You watch
wild.
ones from the 80s or whatever on Poker Go, 70s. They're like to put out one bet.
mid 2000s.
No, I'm saying if you know, not you. I mean, but if you
Literally,
watch
like
one,
2001.
you watch
that's
one
it.
back from your day, Matt. No, like they for one bet, like when Stu Unger
it's
won
a
and
whole
shit, they're
rack.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like a min raise.
five. Yeah, that's like a min raise 5 motions. It's like, yo, color the fuck up, guys.
Yeah, they
It's so
definitely kept. I think 1K chips were like on the final table.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Like
I believe
2003, 4 moneymaker time. I think like 1K was the ante.
Even Jamie Gold's era.
Yeah, there were
Yeah.
10K at
Fucking
least.
Oh,
the
Jamie Gold
Pittsburgh Steelers
stacks.
chips, like
Those were-
still in play.
Yeah.
Those are beautiful stats.
Jamie
though.
Gold stacks. I've never seen like that volume of chips since.
Yeah.
It was remarkable. But yeah, just to like go a little bit further. So I busted day 1 4 times in this event. I've run deep. Let's call it twice. I got 43rd, and last year I got like, I don't know, 190.
Yo, I
day
seen
5.
you on the television last year and shit, yo. You and Conrad, you was on TV a lot.
We got a lot of that. It was fun.
You got what, 240 something?
I don't know.
Late day 4 you busted?
I busted level 1 of day 5.
oh, okay.
So I don't know what that was. It was somewhere
Yeah.
between like 170 and 210. I don't know.
Like 40K?
Like 50, I think.
Okay.
And then so of the 12 times I didn't bust day 1, at some point throughout so I've also bubbled the main event twice. So I've cashed it 4 times, I've bubbled it twice, and 10 times I've made it to at least day 2. Or sorry, 12 times I've made it to at least day 2. Of those 12 times that I've at least made it to day 2, at some point throughout the tournament, I've chip led 7 times. At some point or another, right? So from my vantage point, accumulation is a huge byproduct to results in this event. And the tortoise approach of like register day 1, and if you don't catch a table where you think you can win all the chips easily, just try to bag starting stack or try to bag half a starting stack, to me is just like, it's silly.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're a professional poker player. If you bust day 1, it's no different than busting day 3.
Right. I agree
Like,
with that.
Whatever, it happens. You're going to get a bad table somewhere along the line. And I'm not saying that the final goal is to be the chip leader day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, or anything along those lines.
just wanna accumulate-
But it fucking helps.
Yeah.
You have to play. Yeah, I understand. But well, like, what if we did the thought experiment where it's 24-hour levels? Then you'd be like, all right, I'll wait.
But it's just cash. No, you wouldn't.
Why not?
Because
You'd be like, it's a bad night to play. I'll just blind out a little.
Let's think of it this way: if you were put into a cash game of, call it,
can I be wearing a bear suit in this hypothetical just for fun?
If you'd like.
Okay, I'm a furry. Let's go.
Okay,
and I'm in a cash game.
Okay, so you get to play a cash game that is a full 24-hour session.
Mm-hmm.
You have 300 big blinds.
Uh-huh.
Are you altering your strategy off of a general, whatever you deem to be your equilibrium strategy, your baseline strategy for cash, based off the fact that you only have this 300 big blinds to play it? And if you're altering it, by how much?
If what? If I'm at a table with not other
it's
furries, like a tough table, it's a profitable table?
Yeah, you know you have a win rate. Like, do you think your win rate goes up by changing your strategy and allowing yourself the best chance to play 24 hours in this game? Or do you think that your win rate is highest by operating on your baseline?
Well, if I'm at a table where I'm doing well, then by playing, like by
That's my point, right? So if I have an expected win rate, just because the structure's slow, doesn't mean that my win rate goes up by trying to cater to the structure's sake, right? The implication there is that risk is disincentivized in this particular event. And that's true, but way less than people think it is.
Yeah, I guess I'm so not used to, I mean, it's twice as long and like 3 times as deep. It's like way more like...
You also perceive your edge at those depths to be less than I perceive my edge to be at those depths.
Yeah, that's true, right. I mean, and also, this is a brand new, last year I felt different. I don't fucking know. I'm just like thinking out loud here.
That's what I'm saying.
Stuff I've gathered, yeah.
I understand where you're coming from because the first 10 times I played the event, maybe the first 12, I don't know. Like, basically, every single time that I've ever played the main event where winning it would have absolutely changed my life in a way that I couldn't imagine, but also just running deep would have changed my life in a way that I couldn't imagine. You know, getting 100th for 80K would have been monumental, or getting 43rd for 200K would absolutely alter the course of my career. Every single year that I signed up for the main event and it represented that sort of opportunity, I treated it as fragilely as you currently are speaking about.
I'm going to play like as bad as you did yesterday. When I get down to like 50 big blinds, wherever I'm in the tournament, I'm not going to treat it like, you're right, I'm not going to treat it like the main. I'm going to be like, I know this. I know
Correct.
I'm comfortable
I know the strategy
here.
For this.
We're all around 30, 40. I'm fucking comfortable, and I'm confident I can outplay them in a tournament structure, and I don't care. I'm doing it.
It happened to me last year how I busted. I would say that I would not have busted with my hand in 2014, for instance. Chance was to my right. Him and I were...
he's vaping.
Yeah, he's vaping low-key. He came in as the table chip leader. I think I came in as second, but I lost a few chips. And he had like 60 bigs. I had 40. And the big blind covered me by 1 blind now. Chance opens button. I have 2 jacks in the small. I make it 8 bigs. And the big blind just snap jams.
Ooh.
Somewhere between a very competent rec or a very like not established pro. Let's say that. Like,
okay.
I think he studies is what I'm saying.
Okay. And it's 40?
It's 40 bigs.
A call, yeah.
Yeah, it's a snap call.
Yeah.
In theory, it's an absolute snap call. You can't put your money in fast enough. He should definitely have 10s and worse. He certainly has ace king a ton of the time. But in 2014, I would have thought to myself, nobody's risking their life here with 10s, and certainly not instantly. And I don't want to flip, because just being in this seat is worth so much to me that I'll just pass, lose these 8 big blinds, and navigate off 32 because I'll find better spots. But when you look at the actual equilibrium of the spot and realize that by folding, you're giving up like a blind or a blind, maybe 2 blinds, right? Which if you extrapolate this spot out now to being over 100 over 100 hands played, now you're talking about like losing 200 big blinds on the aggregate by making this fold, right?
Yeah.
You can't justify it.
That actually makes me think I can justify it, because it'd be like, well, what do you have? Do you have you?
Yeah, ace king.
Well, ace king. I mean, you got to fold there. No, I don't know.
He got 7th. But the point I'm trying to make is,
did your read turn out to be right on him? Like how? Well, whatever.
I think
he was very confident. I think he was studied, but he's probably not.
You have to call.
The major difference is that with day 1s you can wait, and with day 5, you can't. You can't look at like, oh, I'll just wait until day 6 and be okay. You can gamble that I can show up, and it's lame, but I can show up with a starting stack on day 2, and know that I probably have like a 94% chance that there's going to be a better table tomorrow.
Right. And there's going to be fewer and fewer chances to get chips, I guess, as it goes on. And
well, what I thought to myself in the spot was, and this was contradictory to what I would have thought in like 2014. So 2014, I would have been like, it's all about just keeping my butt in the chair, and risking anything here is silly. Like, he could just have queens. I'm going to pass. What I thought in that moment was, okay, we're still 175 people away from real money.
Right.
I'm going to have to win some all-ins.
Yeah, that's why I said and give a shit at that point, also because of the payout structure, like, and just like, this is poker, I know, we have to call.
Right. It's like, yeah, it's like I've made 5 buy-ins now, and I'm maybe a day and a half away from making that like 15 buy-ins. So what am I going to do? Like, I'm going to have to win some all-ins along the way. I can't just be
You have to win your all-ins.
Yeah.
You have to.
I think your play with jacks against ace king is completely fine.
It's very standard. It's theoretically correct, obviously, but I'm trying to represent
you gotta
the
give your
difference.
opponent.
I don't think you can analogize it 1-to-1 with day 1 play.
No, I'm trying to make it analogous to the mindset of the main event is so fragile I don't want to bust.
This does matter.
Versus it's just a tournament.
You make a good point. It matters. It's a different day. It matters at different stages, right? I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, if it's day 1 and the guy shows you ace king, do you fold?
Yeah.
For 40 bigs?
Oh, for 40? No.
Okay.
No.
It is analogous then.
Maybe actually, just because I want to be right.
Fair.
I know it's really tough for me.
Yeah, it's
really,
tough
really
because
tough
like,
for
what
me.
if it were 17-hour levels? Then you may.
Because your tournament life does matter so much more.
Yeah, it really does.
It's you guys are you're doing what recreationals do too often, and it's the idea that you can overcome plus EV spots for better ones. This is the Hellmuthian approach of I can pass on this spot that is earning 2 big blinds. Do you know how hard it is to make 2 big blinds in any one decision?
It's a lot of big blinds.
You're basically just saying like, I can wait for a spot to cool somebody off so badly that I can pass on this situation. And it's almost impossible to control that.
Not with Satan, not with the power of fucking the
that's
devil.
different. Now, if you got the voodoo on your side,
obviously you've thought about this a lot. I need to rethink about it and recalibrate. I do think there's merit to what the way and the style that Phil.
I also agree with that.
But I haven't been able to contextualize it still.
The merit to Phil's play that exists of why it's so good prior to the nitty-gritty final 2 tables, whatever the case may be, is the inability of the populace to have enough bluffs in any given node. So he basically puts in small amounts of money that force his opponents to signal to him whether or not they have a hand. Now, does that make him extremely exploitable? Yes.
Yeah.
Are there many people in the populace that are taking advantage of that? No. And a lot of that is predicated upon this mindset of I can wait and find better spots. Phil's a nit. He's aggressing in a pot. He probably just has it, right? Yeah. And all of that deviating back and forth. So nobody wants to play a game of chicken against Phil Hellmuth.
Yeah.
Is it the set this time, or is this a raise fold with top pair?
Yes, that's why it looks really dumb when we see like, someone just bet 5K and then he raised 10K. Nobody does that.
Right.
But Phil Hellmuth can get away with it because of the style that he plays.
I feel like we have to give him credit for those. I know that's what you're saying. I know his final table plays that we were bashing him on look really like insane, but. And I'm not defending those in a vacuum, but like if that comes with all the other cool things that like when you're playing exploitable, you're gonna do dumb shit, right? Like when you're exploiting people, you're gonna do shit that is horrible.
Yes, agreed.
So
I just
eat a roast beef sandwich like a fucking hyena. That was
apex predator shit, bro.
That's weirder than ape. It's like how do you? That was really strange, man. And that's the word. Like if you're eating at the WSOP cafe, you clearly don't have a plan for eating at the WSOP. So he's fucking up there. Like if you're buying a $5 orange or a stale roast beef sandwich and then eating it with the petri dish after touching the petri dishes that are the chips, even though they're new, they already have 50 forms of disease. You see the stains on it and you hope it's cum. Like it's like so if he's eating that and touching those and then ripping open his sandwich just to like take a bite out of the middle of the grossness. That he's a man without a plan. As much as I want to give him credit for,
I think what
the roast beef balance would be is it's not. No, sorry.
I think what Phil's really good at is just remembering how people, or almost like empathizing with how people feel when they're playing against him.
I completely agree with that.
He's so good at knowing like, oh, I'm gonna tilt you, or I'm I'm getting your competitive emotions in play.
I agree
right
with
now.
that. But what I think that we're allowing to fester, or what we're facilitating as media, poker media, and the allure of Phil Hellmuth and this King Kong apex predator bullshit and his persona and all this other stuff, we're ignoring how much of his mystique, so to speak, is actually just quantifiable. I can estimate how much Hellmuth is making in the early stages of tournaments versus how much he's losing in the late stages. And when all the money is put into the late stages, he becomes a negative EV buy, right? So it doesn't matter how often he gets there if his reliance is upon variance and luck to ensure that he cashes in. And, you know, we talk about how great he is, and he truly is. He's the best. I'll reiterate it 1,000 times over. He's the best WSOP player of all time.
Say it 999 more times right now. I call. You reiterated 1,000 times. We'll sit here and wait.
Of all time.
Go.
Of all time, he's the best WSOP player.
997 to
of all
go.
time.
All right, 996.
But that comes with the caveat of
He sucks dick.
of him not being a very good no limit hold'em player.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And we're not willing to acknowledge that because he keeps putting up numbers, so to speak.
Yeah.
But when we come back through and looked at his WSOP over the last, call it 8 years in the modern theory era, he just doesn't put up dubs in no limit anymore.
I wonder how good he really is in like Raz and all those.
I think he's very good.
You think he's
I think his knowledge of tournaments.
I'm better than him in deuce to 7. I knocked him out. You know, I like that. You know, one of the highlights of my life was I didn't even know who it was. He sat down. I'm like, who is this fish? And he just snapped Pat's back. I have a Pat 9. He has a Pat, Pat 10.
You helped him know that he was dead on the road.
Yo, so
he
neat. I was
thought
like,
he
there
thought
is
he
no
might
hope.
have had a chance.
I
I'm
know,
like, no,
I was
you
such a
dead.
dick.
You dead.
There's no hope for you, Phil.
I
He's
think,
just trying to wrap it. Yo, but wait, I think though that like his thinking though of like it's not. I understand maybe it doesn't apply as much now, but it's like my strategy in ping pong: just get it over, let them fuck up. Is not that bad.
If you're playing against bad competition, it's not
If you're
bad.
playing bad competition, which the main apparently is.
Well, we're not specifically talking about the main.
The main
I'm talking
is
about,
not.
I'm talking
main.
about no
Not
limit
WSOP.
hold'em fields,
Yeah, yeah.
period.
How about for the main though?
I think he has a win rate in the main for
So
sure.
the main is different. Sir, you concede that.
well, it's- yeah, but
Surely
like-
you see our point now a bit, Matthew.
Well, it's softer. I certainly think he has a win rate, but like
So
you
then
know,
just letting your opponents make mistakes and being a little more patient maybe has some merit. Maybe the 10-9 suited becomes more of a
not
fold.
when you're at a table where people are making fewer mistakes.
Right, but eventually you will be. There's more chances.
How are there more chances?
He's saying
How do I play break even poker for 10 hours?
I don't know. You
and-
do it every day of your life.
Yeah.
Oh, got him. Got him.
Yeah, doing exactly what I did yesterday. It comes with. You want to know what break even poker looks like? It looks like an EKG. It's a lot of fucking wins and losses, not just a bunch of flatlining.
Sorry.
he wants those peaks and troughs to be a lot higher and lower.
Right.
Just go to 7% VP.
I don't have it in me.
I know that's the other thing. Like he just won't play a tighter style.
Well,
I thought I didn't have it in me,
'Cause
but
there-
I played theoretical ranges pre-flop,
Sure,
which is
sure.
as tight as I'm willing to
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
You know, like
You're
I
like
folded the
Brett
A7
Favre at a
off.
charity event. And they're like, don't throw too hard to the kids with cancer. And you're like, I'll play how I play. I throw how I throw. Like, fuck you guys. It's like, if I'm gonna break their hands, I don't care.
You know, I folded the ace deuce off on the button. Like that's a pain.
How?
That's
What?
painful. Right. That's proper at
suck.
200.
He does suck.
200 big blinds. That's proper.
Fucking old man Berkey.
It's just proper.
Is it?
Yeah.
Are you looking at big blind Annie ranges?
Can't be.
Yeah.
One of those cards is the most beautiful card.
200 big blinds, man. You don't get the VPIP infinite.
Ace deuce off, folds to you on the button, 200 bigs, big blind Annie.
I'm not positive, but I'm pretty certain that it mixes folds.
I think you're thinking of cash game ranges. I'm
Why
pretty
would they
sure.
be any different?
The ante?
I play ante.
I don't care what my cards are. If they are suited on the button, I will play those.
I got to tell you, you're not exactly a theoretical authority here, so
I
you
think
don't
he
really
is.
care.
I
Also,
mean-
playing suited hands on the button is, of course, correct.
Yeah.
Playing offsuit hands, not necessarily so.
I play great on Poker Out Loud. People are gonna see my.
Oh,
true
you
genius.
caged the fuck out of me, that's for
I
sure.
did. I caged the shit out of a lot of people.
Matt, I think you need to come to the next All for Y Academy and learn. No, I'm sorry. I don't mean to give you so much shit. I think it's fun
No,
for the
it's fine.
listeners, right?
I could care less.
Normally, the people here they don't give Berkey enough shit.
After the, yeah, because you're all in the
Sorry.
cult, and like I don't need you for a house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm now. I don't know if I'm being too much of a dick. I love you, and I love the show, and I think we have good chemistry, Matthew. And
fucking suck his dick already.
well, no, but I can't go full dick suck. because I don't know what I'm trying to
You
say.
should have
You're
had the
actually
ball
so
off.
bad at poker you're revealing this day that I'm heartbroken. You've torn down Phil Hellmuth. You've torn down yourself.
No, he said Phil Hellmuth is the best player.
You know, and he's torn down the dream.
No, I barely touched the dream today.
Last time.
All I said about the dream today is that I don't think operators have their ear to the ground enough to consult the people that speak the dream out loud.
Two things with this. That's super fixable, number one. Number two, it does take a long fucking time to fix this stuff.
No, it doesn't.
You think it doesn't. But for example, like would have been our 10th iteration for Round Up Reno. We would spend 2 months on the schedule.
Yeah, but you get to run it like once a year and your budget's nothing.
Yes.
This is the biggest poker event in the history of poker, year in and year out. And they've been running it for 25 plus years.
There needs to be a certain
35
amount
years.
of care that goes
50,
into
what am I
every
talking about? They had the 50
Every
year
change
anniversary.
But you can't
like
just
4
change
years
shit
ago.
easily
I get
willy-nilly.
it.
You're
I
saying
get
you're
it.
organizing a
But-
giant thing.
Look at the places they're failing and how simple they are to correct. They failed at allowing people to scout their table. How easy is that to correct?
I don't know. How easy is it?
Fucking ask someone.
Wait, how do you correct it?
I don't know. They tweeted about it, and within 30 seconds, 100 pros said, "Don't do this."
But
how hard is it to have a pro to consult?
Don't tweet is a different solution than don't have that exploit exist.
That's not the point.
How do you fix the
is-
exploit?
the
You say
point
it's so
is-
easy.
The point is that the second a professional saw that, they recognized the exploit that exists.
Uh-huh.
All they had to do was consult anybody who understands anything about strategy. And that doesn't happen. And you deal with it another way. If you don't show up by level 3, then your chips go into play. It's that simple. That's an easy correction.
That's your seat. Your seat is your seat. They're in play. Yeah.
Correct.
Oh yeah, duh. What am I talking about? That's the easiest
Of course
solution.
it's
I'm an
been-
idiot. That's a very easy solution.
Of course, this is super fixable.
I'm an idiot. Yeah.
So like this doesn't take a lot of iterations to get right. Structures don't take a lot of iterations to get right.
You know what they did fix quickly? The cheating council. If you want to get into that still today.
They did. Well, we hope they did.
What did they
We
fix?
still don't know enough. That's the problem. Not enough.
The GG
Well, they
Pokemon?
got it
Yeah.
together quickly.
It's like-
or
They did put it together very
from
fast.
the time that people were talking about this. It is in action and like
Yeah.
started up very
Yeah,
quick, and that's cool.
Again, I wait off because like GG does a great job at marketing, and for the most part, they do a good job of marketing. They're very avant-garde in how they approach poker. I just want results first before I actually give them credit.
Yeah,
that's all.
I just want confirmation that the allegiances are confirmed. Like, I want to hear confirmation that WSOP will implement what this council is suggesting. I want to hear WPT is involved. I want to hear APT. I want to hear Poker Go. Ultimately, what we're asking for as a community is to whether it's a jury of our peers or some oversighting body where there's a representative from every corporate entity in this game. I don't care what it is. I don't care how you create the panel, as long as it's an educated, well-informed panel. I do like that some of our most high quality players are part of this panel. They're the most educated. Again, this is what I'm saying is lacking from the operator standpoint. They don't have that communication with players, and they need it because strategy is an integral part in catching the cheaters.
Like Joe Chung tweeting, he asked the lady on the floor to go hand for hand a little earlier because everyone was tanking in a satellite, and like they were like 6 from the money, and he's like, we go hand for hand, and she's like, don't tell me how to do my job.
Exactly.
It's like, no, you need to listen to what. He wasn't telling you anything. He was just making a suggestion.
Right,
maybe.
but also she needs to be told because nobody else is educating her on how to correct this problem.
Right. But
and
mostly,
we're hyper aware.
Yeah. Mostly what I was thinking, though, when you're talking about the council, is that I need to ingratiate myself with them immediately, buy an RTA, and be free to be corrupt.
That's correct.
But even without the RTA
won't
part,
work.
I need to send them tribute, right?
So it hopefully won't
There's going to be a
work.
power council. They're going to have big brains and be floating in like the Green Lantern fucking
that's
thing.
correct.
No, that is correct, right?
And you need to switch over to being an anonymous from now on.
And anonymous?
Yeah, just like anonymous. Like don't
the
be a
V for
public
Vendetta
figure.
mask people?
Correct. It'll just help because, again, if you're
Can I
anonymous
become-
RTAing, you just win.
Can I
the
become a
problem
furry
is-
instead in RTA?
The
I want to be in
idea
a
is
bear
it
suit still.
shouldn't work because the way that they're going to police it is anybody that gets red flagged as a potential RTAer, their hands will be sent anonymously to the council to review. So they won't have preceding bias.
I want to be in those
won't
sessions
be
where I get
like-
to study the hand histories.
Yeah,
I want to they should
yeah.
release them after as a
Yeah,
study
yeah.
tool. Be like, here's our course on the
I
cheating
actually-
players.
I know you're saying that in jest, but I actually think that's a really good idea.
No, like watching Publius play or whatever is a good way to study.
Well,
like,
no, not about studying. I'm saying like this is how cheaters were caught in the early 2000s. We were able to review all hand histories. That's how David Paredes caught Russ Hamilton in the AP scandal. So I think that like if it does get to a point where, say, they get this anonymous batch of hands and they clearly flag a percentage of them, and that percentage happened to all belong to one player, and they come up with the solution of like, okay, this guy is clearly RTAing. It's egregious. We need to take action. At that point, I don't think it's a bad idea to cover their asses to then release those hand histories and say like, look, this is what RTA looks like.
you know, they said they would. I think in the interview
okay. I
Jason
didn't know
Kuhn
that.
did, I think he said that they won't. I don't know if they'll release the hand history. I forget, but they'll show the data of what percentage match perfect GTO or
Okay,
something.
that's good enough for me.
I think he said something along those
Yeah,
lines.
yeah.
And also, we can't. It's not people. It can't be them judging if it's too close to GTO. It needs to be a computer matching that computer hand history.
It's
and
tough,
if it's too
man.
close, then you like I know that the inputs will be different in all of these situations. Like, I don't know. They said I'm happy something is getting done. Even maybe it's a publicity stunt. Maybe that's enough to scare some people.
I'm saying
I don't know.
I'll be excited once I can see the live transfer to this. Once I hear WPT, WSOP, Poker Go all sign off, and we can start to take corrective action. Now I'm very interested.
That mitigates, though, I think some of the fact that even that's on the table now, it is going to mitigate like that shit, right? It's like
Agreed.
if I had if Cocksucker Mizikowski or whatever, if Bryn Kenny called me up, I don't know him at all, never met him. I'll use a different name. If Bridge Kenny called me up and was like, "Yo, Cocksucker Mizikowski's coming to your house to play with RTA, needs to use your internet, he's stranded in New Jersey," I'd be like, in the past, okay, now it's like I'm not gonna let some fucking guy like even come close to like risking my shit to risk my shit lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
Like that. Like, so even me and my made up fantasy where I'm in a bear suit, you know, maybe hanging out with Zamani and frogs. Like, no, but seriously, like, I think that it's all good, right? It's like anything towards that direction's good.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's more real than just a.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're so
the
cynical.
hardest thing is just the centralization and getting everybody to cooperate. Right? Cooperation is not poker's best skill set.
Well, right. They may be lazy enough, though, to just be like, if other poker trusts them, we will, like these other companies put their name, they'll just follow. And then it'll be a domino effect easily,
Agree.
right?
Completely agree.
Yeah.
Completely
So I
agree.
think once you get those big four on board, everybody else falls
Yeah,
in
well, they'll
line.
just snap sign up and be like, I'm sure they did the vetting for us.
And this extrapolates out. Like, if we see this level of coordination amongst operators and players alike, we start to see some solutions, perhaps. We start to build bonds and relationships there where there is a two-way street. And maybe we do see wide sweeping change whenever it comes to structures, when it comes to standardizing rules and getting us involved with the TDA in some way, shape, or form. I mean, to their credit, they do a summit every other year, and Matt is generally very open to suggestions from the public, but it's still a closed summit.
Is he the head of the TDA? Like, or
I don't know if he's the head or if he's
I
just
don't know
like the
if it's-
organizer or whatever the case may be, but he is the biggest mouthpiece for them, right? He's the one who's in communication the most, I think, with players.
There's so much work behind this. I don't want to sit here and bitch about structures too much because I really have no clue how much work goes into setting these things up, man. And I really am just I don't ever want to be a whiny player about this and that because I cannot organize anything like this ever. Yeah. Like,
I know,
but
I know enough, and I know that one of the big problems is that there isn't enough diversity in the feedback, right? So it's like if you get
have your message and hire like a black trans woman on Fiverr and they'll send it in.
Not that type of diversity. Like getting feedback from people who strictly play high rollers isn't going to be enough. You need people who are in the mix, swinging it at mid stakes, because if you're just getting feedback from a high roller, he doesn't care that much.
Feedback as far as what's cheating,
No, more so like structure stuff, bubble.
Oh, you're talking about the original stuff.
Yeah,
the
like
WSOP
dealing with
live
massive
exploits.
fields. You're just not going to get great feedback unless you actually present them with the problem. If you're asking them to identify the problem ahead of time, it's almost impossible. Like, I'm able to work the back channels a lot with WSOP, and I always go out of my way to try to examine the structures before months ahead of time when the schedule's released, so that we can try to draw attention to things, right? And they can't use the excuse of like, oh, well, nobody said anything until the day of. And it's hard because you still don't necessarily see everything. Like, I noticed immediately that I thought the 3K Six Max was a bullshit structure, and it was a 2-day turbo, which is crazy at that price point when you only have like 10 no limit events at the 5K or the 2K and above price point. Right.
Yeah. I'm not playing that next year. I mean, I'm not doing well in that field anyway, but I'm not playing it next year.
Right, but like my whole point is like that stuck out to me because that's the price point I'm most interested in.
Yeah, that sucks for you.
I completely missed how awful the fucking structure was for the 500 because I didn't care.
Right.
I didn't look at it that closely. I'm
I get what you're
30-minute
saying.
levels,
Okay,
like,
right.
whatever. But I didn't actually look and be like, oh my god, this is a 15-hour day.
Well, it's also harder to get when there's a smaller field. When it's a 250K, it's only like 18 people they listen to. They're like, okay, this is the field.
It's easy to change. Yeah.
But yeah. When it's like a 1500, it's like we gotta listen to the people speaking is them entering or not.
Yeah, you have to speak
the
to the
numbers
aggregate.
are the way that
or even come up the opposite way. Say like this is how I want everybody to feel. Verify that.
Reverse engineer the experience. That's super fucking smart.
I don't think they're doing that at all.
Yo, you smart as shit and shit, yo. You smart. That for real. I want them to feel this way. How do we do that? How do we make sure the most people have that experience?
Yeah. I think part of it is
let everyone hold a gold trophy on their way out. This is like a Nathan For You episode. It's like everyone loves coming to WSOP, but they hate losing.
Well, I
let
think
everyone take a photo like they won with a bracelet. I think a photo booth for real. That'd be a great idea. They could lie to everyone and say
I think
won.
a photo booth would kill.
A fake, or you could pay to be in a fake Poker News article like section to have a link to send to your grandma or some shit.
Sure. I think part of this stems from the fact that WSOP has always been the brand itself was always bigger than any one individual. So it's the only brand that I can think of that has no ambassador.
Hellmuth is bigger than no, I'm joking. I don't know.
Well, I mean, like guys like Daniel and Hellmuth have aligned themselves with the WSOP brand, but they're not official ambassadors, right?
Yeah.
So they don't officially have any feedback. They just have, kind of friends of the company that are willing to speak to them on back channels, and sometimes mountains get moved and oftentimes nothing really changes, right? But when you're talking about like other brands, live and online, they're full of ambassadors and they leverage that. They'll lean on the fact that a Darren Elias is the face of BetMGM, and he will have input on things like structure or acquisition or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, ECR listens to us with some of the stuff, but like
Stars listens to their
and to be fair, I don't know how privy they are about giving their ambassadors the numbers to dig through. Probably not.
Oh no, you mean like as far as like entries and all that shit, or like
what works and what doesn't as far as
we always are saying this with a grain, like we're just saying as play, like the conversation level
from our
is like
experience.
From our, they're like, oh, how are you guys hearing your communities feel about this format, and do you like it? And then we're like, from our again, I'm always like, I don't know what this would take on the back end, but yeah. But I think what the hell was I going to say? I don't know. I forgot. But I'm a marketing wizard. I think that let everyone have a photo booth with the winner is a great strategy. That they need to what other evidence do they have then if they're not going to be able to talk to people like then the field sizes? Like, isn't that the market speaking?
So yeah, I think that they do kind of go off of strict raw data, but the problem is that when you zoom in on the data points, it can be very misleading.
Yeah, or not be held up or cannibalize itself, as you talk about a lot. Like many won't return, not sustainable.
Yeah,
which is again the same dilemma that like we talk about with certain things. It's like the Lynn tweeting a while ago about like torching and burning through until it's dead, type of mentality. I don't think WSOP has any intention of that. But they may be by mistake doing that.
But it's very similar
structures.
to the tanking. It's very similar to like the tanking and things like that. That's ultimately the outcome, right? Is that Lynn mentality of I'm only here for a short time and I want to maximize my bottom line while I'm here. Well, it's kind of the same thing. If WSOP takes that approach, if players take that approach, you ensure the death of the game, right? Like one way or another, whether it's through rake or through negative experiences or through increased bottom line for a small subset of players, eventually everything breaks. Everything rests at an equilibrium where it is still zero sum. And you see it just cripple. We
have different goals, pros and Rex, though. Like, we want to be in a game where we can beat them up, though. But for poker on the whole, zooming out, you want Rex to be winning from pros more. Like
you want them to just lose slower.
You want them to lose slower. This is what I was trying to ask, and you already answered it. Yeah. You want Rex to lose as slowly as possible.
Correct. Yeah.
This is such a fucked up thing to be talking about.
It's a tough industry, man.
It's a weird thing. That's why I would feel soulless if you and I imagine you two would too, if you were only a poker pro, just only out for yourself.
Yeah.
How do you that's why
the churn has to be
scumbag,
so
probably.
Fucking huge. That's why direct marketing or to the layman is so important, right? Because if we don't have them, then the casinos just gobble up literally every dollar of the pros. That's it.
Yeah, and I mean, for a long time, that was
the case.
purpose, right? It was bring people through the doors so that they lose 10x as much on the casino floor. And then eventually this just became its own self-sustaining industry where casinos kind of were like, well, what the fuck? This was supposed to be a loss leader for us. Now it's just a loss. And that's a threat to us as well, you know?
I think I like Landon's idea though, where I still want to have the hope that it's like a fair, the study part of it is like under.
It's hard for it
about
to
the
be a total
marketing, like effort, and
meritocracy.
I mean, because there's so much luck in these giant fields that I feel like I don't hear about like D-Laz when he won the Millie Maker was saying like, yo, I put in so much work and I feel like this is a result of that, and I feel like it's a pure game. And he had felt like that before running well.
Yeah.
And I think that part of poker is cool. Like I feel shitty when I have conversations about needing new like fish to feed on type of ecosystem shit. I feel weird about like, you know, like that, but the game is amazing. I forget when I have those conversations. It's not like we're sending players to play slots. We are introducing them into a game that you can win at and study at, and hard work pays off. And I don't know, maybe that's the messaging angle.
Like I always say, people outside of poker are just civilians. They have a civilian mentality. The way they think, the way they learn, the way they problem solve. It's just so different. Once I was exposed to this, even though I was in esports, it changed the way I looked at so much in life.
Yeah.
So there is valuable skill to be inside of poker.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. And I think that that's actually the payoff, because I don't think that the positive correlation between hard work and results is as strong as we'd like it to believe.
No,
as strong as we'd like to believe it to be, right?
I mean, you'll never play enough live hands for it too, right?
Correct.
Like,
The survivorship bias conditions us to believe that it's a byproduct of working hard and picking the right spots and things like that. But the true nature of it is that the payoff is reshaping the way that your mind works into a much more logical ability to rationalize and problem solve. And sometimes, if you're fortunate, there's a lot of money to be made in this particular industry.
well, if you study and go play cash, there's no lying, right? I mean, you're only talking about tournaments.
I'm talking about in general. There's still a lot of variance in cash.
Wait,
it's so
but-
hard to play enough hands.
Yeah, but surely, I mean, online you can cure this problem. Online, there's no lying, like quickly, like relatively, right? There's no denial of I see it. I can see in my graph when I'm playing a lot, when I was having like a fight with Katie, my fiance, for example, or whatever, like I literally see like my red line goes, I'm like clicking buttons lazier. Like this shit there is a ton of data.
Yeah.
And then when I'm studying, I'm like.
It's for sure quantifiable. It's just that at the quantifiable scale, which would be effectively online where you're playing, you know, thousands of hands a day, the system polarizes a lot more than we like to acknowledge. It does become a lot more of the feeding frenzy of a small percentage has put in enough work to be plus EV.
Yeah.
And then a much larger pool is just donating to that plus EV pool. Right? It
yeah,
becomes
like
this
DFS
hierarchy.
is fucked because of
Correct.
this. It's like only like 2% of the players win all the money.
Yeah.
And
A lot
it's
of
like,
that's
how do you
rake-based.
mitigate that, huh?
A lot of that is rake based. But
so
yeah.
hard.
But still, but it's so hard. When I was doing my vlog, I started as gambling. I just started general YouTube. Then it was gambling at first. And then I was like, all right, well, I'm going to do gambling. How do I not lose? It's like, let me actually learn poker a little bit.
Yeah.
Or DFS. Those are the two choices.
But
so
the DFS
those are the only two. And I was like, DFS is not viable because
It would be
I
though
know
if it
how
were-
few people win.
It would be though if it were rake free. The reason few
Yeah,
people
the rake
win
is super high.
Yeah, the reason why few
But I
people
don't
win
think
is
it
because the
would
rake
be
is so high.
because even still, the guys who are at the top are so. It is much more top heavy than poker. It's not just the rake. It's bad. It's really bad. Like the DFS guys are like have models that it would take so much insider knowledge to get your hands on. It'd be similar to if only the people winning had RTA or something. Like truly, like you can't just like sign up and watch some courses and win at DFS.
I agree with you that the skill gap between the top and the next tier is incredibly vast.
And way more than poker.
Yes, I can agree with that. But that next tier is losing almost exclusively to the rake.
Well, whatever.
Would be profitable
I'm,
with no
I'm
rake.
friendly with Daniel Grano. I think more rake is better. I really don't want to discuss this right now, frankly. No. But like anyway, but yeah. You don't want poker to get to that point where, and this is what Jason Kuhn was saying in the interview about the council, that they feel like they fear that a new young poker player coming due to cheating or whatever, but whatever the case, that they would see this landscape and be like, this is unattainable. I will never get that good, no matter how much it's too crazy far unattainable. And I think like live, it very much is, and people like, and online, hopefully it will be again, that people need to. This is a good message that you can study and get so much better and have the fun, an amazing moment. Like, was after 2020 studying and playing online and going back live and being like, oh my God, I know this answer. And finally like seeing some shit pieced together.
I think that there are two problems that we face moving forward. One is that the line between cheating and studying is getting more and more gray, right? The study tools that we have available to us that flirt with the line of RTA are becoming much more widely available.
Also, asking my opponent what he just folded and he whispers it to me, that's the study. No, I'm just right.
Pure cheating.
No, I'm studying.
But I think that that's an issue as technology advances that we're going to have to deal with. And then secondarily, the linear progression is a lot less than it's ever been. So it's no longer start at 1-2, graduate to 2-5, go to 5-10, move up to 10-20, 25-50, 50-100. There will always be a next tier.
Yeah.
Live, it like caps at 5-10, and then either you just cherry pick 10-20 games around the country whenever they pop up, or you're lucky enough to get into the private scene and start playing like 200, 400.
Yeah, and for tournaments, it's like you go upstate. I know now as the ecosystem, I will never, because I don't even aspire to be, but knowing the amount of work it would take to ever be able to play even the 5K 6 max, maybe I'll be profitable in that one day, but I don't even aspire to be right now.
Also, the amount of capital. Once you start playing like 10K average buy-in and above for MTTs,
only
the amount of capital you need is like many millions.
Sure, to be responsible. I mean, not actually. Many players have $0 in the bank and manage to play.
Yeah.
Hey, he had 7,500.
But no, I'm saying when your average buy-in is 10K. You obviously can't have $0 at that point unless you're just fully backed, which I think is like pretty rare for that big of stakes.
Yeah.
The amount of capital you need is just insane. So it has to be both talent and capital intensive, which make it very, very, very challenging to ever get to that echelon. So yeah, I mean, I think that like, you know, again, it all falls back on being a little bit of a marketing problem, but there is the thing that poker has going for it right now that is still incredibly encouraging
is me.
Yes, is Ryan DePaula. He's doing all of God's work to bring people into at the bottom echelon of the ecosystem. It's very healthy. I mean,
yeah.
When I say it's healthy,
Reddit
I mean,
is tons of people like.
When
Rex,
I say it's healthy, I mean there's a lot of money pouring in. I don't necessarily
people
know.
interested in the game. Go on Poker Reddit. It's all like micro stakes players posting their wins. Like, oh, I got my first big score today.
A lot of those guys never make it to the casino though.
And it's 240. Well, that's fine. I mean, my goal isn't to get to the casino necessarily. I mean, I don't know what my goal is. I mean,
for live to thrive, it needs to be a big goal. That barrier of entry is still relatively high.
I mean, I'm trying to grow ACR and Ryan DePaula right now, Matthew, because those are two things that pay me right now, Mr. Matthew.
That's fair.
No, I'm kind of joking. I actually don't know. I want live to thrive. I want it all to thrive. I want poker to grow. Yeah. I don't think it's.
I think live will thrive.
Yeah. If there's, how can that not eventually? If there's more people playing micro online,
markets that are in poker, markets that are getting protected are booming. Right. We have the ladies events. We have the seniors events. And I think people will eventually see that live is protected against all the shenanigans from online.
That's true to a certain degree. I think what we haven't necessarily seen, though, is how much correction will take place due to the inflationary aspect, the hike in interest rate, the potential recession that we're facing.
100%.
Generally, gambling markets
100%.
do really well in recessions, but I'm less convinced that will be true of poker because it is such a skill-based industry.
Let me ask. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I didn't know that they do well in recessions.
Yeah, because they're long shots, right? Like they're an opportunity to set up security in a downtime for the world.
Okay,
and you can usually do so relatively cheaply, even though you're just giving up cents on the dollar every time you do it. Poker's a little bit less like that though. Like you don't have that fair of a shake if you're not good.
Yo, since the boom, how many has there been like legit waves of sweats of like, oh, poker's dying? Isn't this like a meme in the poker world that you guys freak out every couple years about shit? And shit's doing great. Like, how many main entrants are there today? Actually, we don't even know. We should, like, I wonder how many main. Well, you don't care anymore because you call with 10-9 suited.
I do. There were 2,000 to start the day. I think it's going to be probably the second, if not first, biggest main of all time. But we have to take that with a grain of salt. Like, money is just worth less now than it was in 2007 when Jamie Gold won.
I know.
And
How's the
biggest
main
event.
just stayed $10,000 forever? That's funny.
Right. I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong. It's good, but it's
Still a
also just
shitload
like
of money. It's still unfathomable amount that
so
like
much.
4 years when I started the vlog, I just was dating Kate. I was like, I could only dream of one day watching Tony Miles and John Sin. I was like, I hope I'm a whaley businessman enough one day to just come lose 10K. Like literally, I didn't know I would ever be like, I didn't know staking, selling pieces that I'd ever be even close to winning or good enough in it, any of that shit. It's crazy, man. I'm so grateful. I forget, but it's a lot of money still.
it is, but it's all relative. It was a lot of money in 2003. Like an unfathomable amount of money. It was equivalent to playing a high roller in 2003.
Yeah. Well, that's why the PSP, the PCA is 25K. It would be like if you were to start a new main event, it would be
it'd probably
like
be something around
25-ish.
Yeah. Like it was very pro dense for a long period of time because they were the only ones who could pony up. It's just not anymore, and that's a good thing for poker as a whole, I think.
Pro dense when it was like Scotty Win and like the way they talked
Those were
about
the
hands
pros,
in those
man.
old ones
I
in like the
know.
90s. It's
He didn't
amazing.
really feel like he had a 9 there.
Or even what's his name? I forget. Andy, the dude with the necklace. I don't know.
Black?
Dude, Andy Black.
Block. Andy Black was an Irishman who has a very foul mouth and quite entertaining to watch. Andy Block was
Was it a monk?
professional. No, he was a professional who was a part of the MIT blackjack team.
So then maybe neither of them. Some guy who's good was talking about pocket queens as if he was like debated folding pre-flop, and it was unclear how many bigs there were. It was just so amazing. And like 98 or something is like.
Bro, this is like almost certainly like 2006.
Yeah, for
No,
sure.
You keep
no.
saying
For
80s
sure.
and 90s,
Because
and
there
like
was no televised anything
Right.
in 98.
No. They did a 1 hour thing on it on Poker Go. There's like a 1 hour like documentary or something on those years, like
Okay.
the year and then like Scotty. There's the clip of them winning at the end all those
Yeah.
years in the 80s, right? Like
Well,
like
no,
Hellmuth and
against
Scotty
Hell.
win.
Yeah.
Scotty Wynn was 97.
Right. So I'm saying around that. I think it was that year that they were talking that bad
Okay.
about poker.
That's not the 80s, bro.
It's all before.
Well, you know
me.
that Moneymaker was 2003.
I
and
do
not
know
the
that.
90s,
Yeah.
right?
I do know that.
Okay. Almost everything relevant to modern poker history is like post Moneymaker.
It is
Right.
crazy if you go back to watch the Moneymaker footage, though. It looks like it is from the 70s.
Yeah.
It's so old. looking.
What a fun game. Laura Nisi was trying to get me to do it, and I just haven't been down to the Paris Bally's since. But she wanted me to. She asked me if I could name past main event winners in reverse order and how far back I thought I could go. And conservatively, I said I thought I could go back to like 2012. And she's like, "That's it." And I was like, "Well, I just don't want to embarrass myself." But the truth is,
Do it.
I did it. And I went all the way back to 2000.
Wait, let me see.
Wow.
Is it worth me trying?
I mean, you could try.
Waste
I
of
don't
time.
think.
I think the
I don't think you would get more than like the last.
me neither.
four.
Wait, so like
2010
Damien,
to 2020 is so fucking hard for me.
Corey Aldemir. Wait, let me see how far I can go. Corey Aldemir, Damien Salas, and the
I
bootleg
missed
one.
Salas because it was the
Well, it's
online one.
Fugazi, and his
Yeah.
pile of cash. Somebody at my table observed the posters is like so small compared to everyone else's. It's like
Yeah.
massive. Wait, now my brain's already broken.
Yeah. So Corey, Salas.
That's as far as I go.
on.
No, then oh my god, dude, this is gonna waste
Okay,
time
help
on the
him out, help him
show.
out.
Forget it.
2019. I'll give you the runner-ups in spots where you don't know the winner.
Okay.
Yeah. That's good.
Dario was the runner-up. 2019.
And Sam or whatever. I was saying, and then it was John Sin.
Yep.
Then 2017. Jesus would be. Hold on. Runner up.
Runner-up was Daniel Ott.
Blumstein.
Yep.
Then Quewin.
Yep.
Then 2015 would Ryan. Hold on. McKeon.
McKeon. Yep.
Then
That was legendary.
I want to say Ryan Reese. I don't know.
Nope.
Oh, he's probably 2012. So 2014 might be the year. Greg Merson.
Nope.
Fuck. Pius Hines.
No, you're.
Way too early. Who's
Way
the
too
runner
early.
up this year?
So I got 14 and 13 mixed up as well. 14 was 13 was Ryan Reese. 2014 was Martin Jacobson.
Who the hell is that? No, I'm
Wow.
joking. I actually loved that year. Okay, then 12 would be Pius.
No.
Merson. Then fucking Pius.
Yep.
That's the year I didn't watch at all because I think that was the first year with I actually did this bit for Poker News with Lon McCarron playing Topgolf, and if I beat him, he'd say anything I want on the broadcast. I lost, and he's gonna say Joey's a mush anyway.
Sure.
What I was going to make him say is rename the 15 to 17 and a half big blinds stacked up as the R. Kelly range.
Oh my God.
But
Jesus.
but I don't know if he would have done it. But anyway, we were talking about it. And I think that was the first year with whole cards face down live stream, and it sucked dick to watch.
No, it wasn't.
Pius
Actually.
Hines wasn't?
No, all the way back at Jerry Yang's year, they did a pay-per-view. I bought it.
Oh my God,
Oh
really?
my God.
Cards not revealed.
That's
Oh
so
my
boring. That's
It was
unwatchable.
incredible. We did like a 10-hour watch party. I was still in my college apartment with like Lamanna
sure.
and all those guys.
Oh, that must have been so much
It
fun.
was remarkable.
All right, so who
Must've
won
been so much fun.
2010, Merson? I don't know what the fuck.
No, you already guessed Merson. It was right.
So 2010 was can we win again? He's two-time champ. No, who's runner up?
2010 runner-up was John Racner.
How do you remember all this, dude? This is so
been
bad.
in the
because
industry.
that was your.
Well, I went deep that
was a
year.
year. Yeah, you said Duhamel.
Duhamel, yep.
Then 09 was. Runner up. I'm cheating so much.
Runner-up, I'll... Darvin Moon.
Oh, Kata.
Yep.
Okay.
No, Darvin. Oh yeah.
Then 08
Darvin got
was
second, I gonna
Yang?
say.
Or no, he's
No.
07. 08 would be Eastgate.
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 Then Yang.
Yep.
And then Jamie Gold.
Yep.
And then 05, I don't know. I started following around Eastgate. So 05 would be Greg Raymer? No, he's 04.
Yeah.
Yep.
05 would be, who's the runner-up?
Runner-up was Steve Daneman.
Oh, God, I don't know who the fuck won the main
It's
that year.
Hashem, right?
Yep.
Hashem.
Oh, shit. Oh, Australia. I should know.
Yeah.
Then
And
Moneymaker. Then
who's
who
the
the fuck
runner-up?
knows?
Who's the runner-up for Raymer? I thought that was Andy Black.
No, David Williams.
Oh, David Williams.
Oh, David Williams. Who is the monk that was?
Jerry Yang. He wasn't
Jerry
a
Yang.
monk, but he was like super religious. He was
No.
praying-
There was like a UK monk or something like that.
Sorry, I wasted a lot of time guessing
idea.
in the show.
I
But
think it was
UK Monk won it?
No, he got second. I thought his name was Andy Black or Andy.
Andy Black is not a monk.
No, but I'm mixing them up. There's a bunch of Andys and Blacks and something.
Can you look? No, I'll look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
no
is
one
our
knows
own
what he-
tangents.
nobody knows what he's
So
talking
what's my
about.
strategy day 2 for the main?
You're
I
not
bagged.
done.
Yeah.
All right.
Who's 2002?
All right. 2002 would be dude, I'm fucked now. Ferguson?
No.
I-
Close.
He got runner up.
No.
He won 01.
Yes.
So 02 would be Dick McGillicuddy. Old.
He's a
I
wreck.
think that's when Queen got his first.
Yeah, that's Queewin. No,
What?
it was a recreational though.
02 was a wreck. Robert Varconi.
Yes.
01. Wait, I just said was Ferguson.
I believe that's correct.
Or it might be
2000 and
2000 or
2001,
01.
I switched.
And then the other of those years was Darvin Moon got his first. No, Filippo Candio or
Yeah, his name is Andy Black.
Vladi Divac.
Oh, Andy. Yes. He's an Irishman.
Irishman.
He's not a monk.
Yeah, it even
He
says
looks
here.
like a monk. He acted like a monk.
He
He had monk-like features. I could tell you that much,
got
my
knocked
man.
out. He came back like 5 years later.
He's known in poker circles as the monk. I don't think he's 100% not a monk. I know this for a fact.
Well, why would they call
in
him
a
that?
semi-monastic Buddhist environment for 5 years.
Hey, I didn't know that about him.
Wow.
Good
I
for
only
him.
know this because ESPN did a fantastic coverage of him back in the day.
Andy Black was
Talking about
he is
this
one
shit.
of the greatest poker characters that people won't remember. He's a joy to play with. He is one of the most vulgar, foul-mouthed, aggressive individuals.
And he's a monk, but he's so Irish.
That's why I said there's no way he's a monk.
But it's Irish conflicting with his monk tendencies.
Right, he's an
That
Irish
they need to
monk.
be violent, drunk, like fucking like, hey, fucking da da da.
He is such a treat to be around. Like,
I got to play with him my first WSOP event ever, the tag team, in 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever. He's cool.
yeah, he's an absolute
But
pleasure.
it was him talking about Queens like a 1 cent, 2 cent wreck. It was really cool. And
His nickname is actually the Monk.
Yeah. But
Okay, so I probably got to conflate
nicknames are never wrong though. Like Jungle
Yeah,
Man
so,
was
I
raised
mean-
by Panthers, and still somehow came out that way.
Right.
All right, I don't know who won in 2000.
I think it was Letterer. It was Letterer
Letterer?
either in 2000 or 2001, and Ferguson either in 2000 or 2001.
Then 99 was Scotty Wynn.
Yeah, I think. Pretty
98
confident.
was. I'm done now.
I don't know 98, but I think 97 was Stu Unger.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got way
Sorry.
further. Than,
Wow, you guys
way
crushed
better
it.
with this.
You guys fucking crushed it.
I'm
Well,
actually more
he
impressed.
crushed it. He gave me a bunch of runner-ups.
Yeah, I knew a bunch of runner-ups.
Still,
I know the runner-ups the
do
whole way
anything.
through.
I did nothing.
This is, man, I wish I could put into words like how different it is now. Landon would never, I don't want to short sight Landon because he actually does have reasonable poker knowledge, but if he could get all the way back to 2010, I would be fucking astonished.
You know, even these guys who are like around my age that Danny knows from Long Island, Dan Lazarus, they didn't know who Moneymaker was,
Right.
like literally,
That's
and
wild.
they're good poker players who are studied. They mostly have played online.
Yeah.
And they literally, I was like, I was having this big Moneymaker. They're like, who? And I was like, that's unfathomable to me.
Well, let's remember, Landon was 3.
I
when
get that,
Moneymaker
but
won.
like growing up, I was heavily involved in sports. I could name every Super Bowl champion back to Super Bowl 1.
Yeah, well,
I can name every World Series champion like back to the Pirates in the 70s.
That's
because
crazy.
like I got so engulfed in the history, but to the same point, I also wasn't playing professionally.
Well, and the way the coverage though has changed too, though. Like when it was on ESPN, and it's a lot easier to just
You get
be
those
up at
stories.
3 a.m. having it on, and then you're a casual fan aware of it. Also, they talked about the history of it in the coverage more, I think, like previous winners.
sure, for
Then
sure,
now
for
we're
sure.
not covering it like, the defending champ, this and that. Like,
Yeah, I would watch like NFL Films Presents on ESPN. I literally watched they did a Super Bowl recap thing like through the mid 90s. So you're talking like Super Bowl 1 all the way through like, I don't know, Super Bowl 36 or something like that. And I would watch these half-hour episodes of the entire history of that event. It just got ingrained in your mind. I remember having a book that detailed all of the Super Bowls up into it must have been like 6th grade or something like that. And granted, I followed a storied franchise, so I wanted to know the history of the Steelers.
yeah, easy to be a Steelers fan. But no, actually, Mel Blunt and I have the same birthday. You know, I'm cool with Mel Blunt. But
no, I get that.
But like, I'm the same. I was a big NFL fan, and I read about the history of it. Got the books of like the greatest players ever. Same shit. It's just like I knew the Super Bowl winners.
I don't think that'll happen with poker moving forward.
Well, because it's too vague and unclear, and we need like specific character. That's why it was so
The World Series
marketable
was also
too.
the mecca forever.
Huh?
The World Series was the mecca forever. Your number of bracelets quantified
I think
how
it
good you
still
were as a
is a
professional.
mecca. I think your number of bracelets, like I'm clearly
matters.
a better player than you because I have a bracelet and you don't.
That's obvious, but I mean, we're not talking about you and me here.
Well, you wouldn't want the Met bracelets to be the marker of.
I don't care. I don't want them to be because I think that we've created an environment where they don't matter that much.
Because the low buy-ins.
Well, there's this big separation where it's like there's a lot of bracelets to obtain in mixed game high buy-in events.
Oh yeah.
And then if you're a no limit specialist, your likelihood of winning a bracelet is near 0.
Yeah.
Unless you play like super
they're not
high
all
rollers.
weighted equally for sure. A kid won one in a parking lot. I always say it's so stupid. It's just getting disconnected every hour. No, every time people talk about the diluting of bracelets, I like I'm like a little like quiet. I'm like, oh yeah, I got like the most cheap one. Although it's not the most cheap one. The most cheap one is a 98 player field in some dumb mix game that any competent hold'em player could learn within 2 days.
I also think so.
Those are the way cheaper ones than me beating a field of 1,200
I think
from my
it'd be
car.
a little bit reductive, but okay, I understand where you're
No,
coming
come on.
from.
I mean, a field of like 80 fucking people.
Yeah, but you're talking about like a 10K stud 8 event. Like,
Yeah, fuck
you have
them.
to have some
Those
skills.
bracelets are dog shit compared to mine.
Get in there, man. If they're that easy,
I beat
get in
1,200
there.
people. They could suck a mixed game dick. Although I'm a mixed game specialist, suck a mixed dick, a mixed race penis.
I will end on this, like, as far as like all this WSOP World Series stuff.
history and fandom.
Yeah, I will say that, like, I think that really highlights why Hellmuth is because in a lot of those smaller field, bigger buy-in mixed events, this clicking around stuff to figure out where you're at, it has a lot of merit because bluffing is such a small fraction of the game, right?
Yeah.
And you can intuit a lot better what the bluffs are supposed to be and like when a person has, like, I think he just performs really well in that structured environment. And I don't want to take anything away from his skill set. I just think modern game theory no limit has long since passed him by. And I know that people are going to hate me for saying it, but
I
it's
hate
like
you.
I
No, I'm joking. Who cares?
just
mean,
don't care.
it seems like he sucks, but I believe in white magic. I'm not even joking. I'm
if
not
he-
being sarcastic.
If he stopped selling publicly, I would shame him a lot less. But him trying to sell 100K
Of
no limit
course,
buy-in at
that's egregious.
1.3
That's
is
very
like disgusting.
insane and stupid and like of course. I agree.
Yeah.
But wait, why don't tear him down, man? No, I don't know. You know what? I think he's famous though. You're saying he's famous because of that, or he's good because of that?
I think he's good because of that. I think he's famous because of
They covered him so much, and
yeah,
his entrances. He made a spectacle of it. He played in, and had fun. Like,
the online churn in the early 2000s really dictates who's going to be the head of this industry for the next 20 or 30 years.
but I wonder still how. Like, I guess
Antonio hasn't been all that relevant in the poker community for the better part of a decade. But if he came out of retirement tomorrow and started firing a full WSOP schedule, he would probably be one of the biggest names in every single field.
Yeah, that's crazy. I wonder, like, if you or I disappeared or something, or like not we have different
no one would ever
audiences.
remember
No
us.
one will care.
No
if
one
we
would
came
remember
back
us.
and
Yeah.
like,
And I honestly,
Somerville, like, returning.
exactly.
Is that who you were going to use as an example?
Exactly. Like, people like to see him, but nobody really knows who
boots on the
Somerville
ground
is.
care.
Yeah.
The people walking through the halls who see Jason are just like, wow, like what a blast from the past kind of thing. But
Exactly.
like the overarching media
Well,
and the narratives
because
and stuff
the
don't
media
care.
is your own doing. My media is my channel. Your
Correct.
media is this channel. His is his
Yeah.
streamed, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it just shifted, but you have to self-promote. It's a weirder, different thing.
It's very different. I don't know. I think there are exciting times ahead, but I also think there are a lot of problems we're not necessarily addressing that we can all do better as a community.
Well, me
with.
final tabling the main is going to be great for Satan. It's going to be great
Honestly,
for poker. How do I do
I'll
it?
say it here first. I'm rooting for it, man.
Thanks, dude. No, can you tell me
I
help
want
me?
you to go
I think
deep.
he's high probability to actually. He should have been on Rising Stars or whoever. The
Yeah.
fact that nobody picked him in our fantasy. draft is
People
insane.
picked you in the league.
Oh, really?
Okay,
In the fantasy league that we
For
did,
sure
there were
that's good.
48 entries. I think you were picked like 3 or 4 times.
That's
Oh
a great,
shit.
That's a
I
great
mean,
pick.
that's a little bit of
a lot of pressure. No big deal.
No, I
it's
mean,
a big pick.
I hope I can honor those people's picks.
Yeah. I think until you get near bubble play, just win the blue line war, maximize your value as best you can. And as you start to get into the ICM aspects of it, red line is available. You will get very good table draws throughout. And you'll get killer table draws. Like day 4 last year was very unlucky. I'm watching Conrad play at a feature table with Keith Lear and 7 amateurs, while I'm at the secondary feature with Chance, Jason Kuhn.
I remember watching that, being like, Conrad
just
3-bet
awful.
8s too, played it like shit. I was like, what is he doing? Like, when it's always a flat in that like one hand in particular, and the other guy played it worse somehow.
Yeah.
Like Conrad worse played him in a horribly.
Right, yeah.
I was like, and then Berkey, you're with Chance. Like, I remember watching, being like, oh no, like.
Yeah, like it was like 7 regs at our table, which, hey man, we're all happy to be there. It's day 4 of the main event. We all had piles of chips. We all bagged piles of chips somehow, right? My man Jack, who ended up final tabling, I think getting 4th, played very well in a tough environment. Like, it's way worse for him than it is for like me, Chance, or Jason. Or at least we've been playing with each other for 15 plus years, you know? It'd be like Ferguson, Hellmuth, and Negreanu getting sat together in the main event in 2011.
I'm gonna take
Who gives
pictures
a
of
shit?
everyone at my table and send them to you amongst other people.
I got you, man.
Please, because I don't know a lot of these.
I won't
like,
know anybody under the age of 25. I'll know everybody who's older.
No one under the age of 25. I'm gonna assume either they got, if they don't have a cast on from like a settlement accident they got somehow,
Right.
they're a drug dealer or a wizard.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. They either come for money or they're an absolute killer. Just watch how they play like middling pocket pairs and you can figure it out from there.
I just look if they ever bet like under half pot.
Yeah.
Like I'm like,
you're
they don't
fucking
only play
good.
live. Yeah. Oh, you're
Yeah.
fucking good. They bet less than half pot.
20% pot.
Oh God, I'm leaving. I
Instant
lose it
fault.
to,
This
on
guy's
reg
nasty.
with 3x starting if they bet 20%. My God.
I was texting with a friend yesterday and I had seen her table and I was like wishing her luck or whatever. I was like, you got a really great draw. And she was like, yeah, I don't know. Like seat 1 seems to be a good French pro and like seat 5 seems to be competent. And I was like, I only took a quick glance, but 2 things. Number 1, there's no such thing as a good French pro.
Yeah,
And
the
number 2,
Winamax pros are the not low. Yeah.
number 2, I just think you have a bad read on seat 5. Like, get in there. Like, I promise
I
you,
need that
you're great.
confidence from people because I am too. Like if they have an accent at all, I just give them way too much credit, and
Yeah, and also
then
they're mimicking sizings, right? So it's like, okay, he's European and he's
Oh,
betting
that's such a
25%
good
pot.
point.
He's probably really fucking good. It's like, no. Like,
Oh, shit.
What's the accent?
that's just their culture there.
Right.
They same as the old guys here see other old guys
Right.
betting like
right,
more
like,
than
did
half
he
pot.
bet 25% pot
On a board that's
Jack
appropriate.
Deuce 3, or
Right,
did he
right.
bet 25% pot on 10-9-8? Because
Yeah,
if it's the
right.
latter, this guy stinks.
Yeah, well, of course, yes. No,
The
I
stinky cheese man,
Yes.
he ain't got it like that.
I weigh
you know?
that, but I get so psyched out that this dude donked on some board that is not at all appropriate, and I still was like, oh, maybe that's a play. That's how afraid I was
Bro,
for no reason.
I sent a recreational into a cash game. He really wanted to play. I thought it was a good spot for him to play, and I sent him. And he's competent, but he's losing. and he'll admit that he's like losing or breaking even in most lineups. I sent him into this game, and the thing that he does really well is he overbets. I'm not saying he's super studied in overbetting. It's just he's willing to overbet, right? So he goes into this session and he wins a couple buy-ins. And I immediately get a text like, I think this guy's too good for our game, man. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, he gives so much action. And he's like, he check raised me on the river with the nuts. It's like, so fucking what?
No saddlebagging. Is that what it's called?
Like, what are you asking for here? That like you need somebody who's drooling on themselves in order to come play in your game? Like, okay, so he check raised you with the nuts. Like, do you think he has bluffs in that spot? Is that what makes him so good? Is he balanced? And like the guy didn't really have an answer. He's like, he overbet like 3 or 4 times. It's like, yeah, okay, so he overbet.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You think he's grinding Sims? This man runs $1 million.
Well, an overbet is a bigger clue than the check raise with the nuts is like, oh, what the fuck do you think he has, you dumbass? Like,
Right.
you have fold.
But also it's just
overbet
like-
would be scary to me. I would be like, oh, he's wizarding. I would be like that too.
All right,
if
well,
he
good-
wins and he overbets,
Good luck in the
I
main.
would also think
yeah.
that
Good
same
luck in the
thing.
main
right?
event.
Because people
whenever
don't
you
do it enough.
Exactly.
People
It's
don't
just
do
like,
as much as they should.
hey,
I'd be
look,
like, oh,
you're-
he's studied.
You're supposed to bet somewhere between 50 and 100%, and that's it. You know?
Right.
Once you bet somewhere around there, it's like, oh, this fucker knows.
Yeah,
how to
you
play.
guys are-
If you
you
go
guys-
101 or 49, we're like, I'm done.
You guys have
I was-
complete and utter trauma. Almost everybody who plays this game with any sort of regularity is going to mimic their environment. If they're playing with any sort of decent players, when they have strong hands, they will find 100%, 200%, 300%. You have good luck in the main whenever you're up against an 80-year-old man who c-bets for 150% pot on Jack 4 deuce when he has aces. Because he's gonna.
Oh, yeah.
He's afraid.
Power Satan compels him.
And you should just fold that goddamn Jack face
I want
up.
to honor Satan and do the dark arts so much so that I actually, my fiance, I feel like my future wife, fiance, I don't want to say these fruity French words. I'm about to beat a bunch of these French guys, right? My wife gonna be. That's the new term for fiance for men. But
Sure.
anyway, my wife gonna be was saying to me something like when am I gonna see? I was like, you know when you're gonna see me. And I debated banishing her I literally was talking to Satan. I'm not even joking alone, being like, do I want her to have no effect on how I play? He's like, I could do that for you. I was like, nah, hold off. Let her, like, she can help me. I'm fucking channeling this guy.
Where is this going?
I'm saying, I'm honoring Satan's will, saying he's powerful and going to help me
He's
win the
using
main.
our platform.
I have an exorcism
To encourage.
scheduled.
Yeah.
I have an exorcism scheduled for after. You don't believe in anything. You believe in some things. But,
Why do you think that?
I think it's the opposite, actually.
oh.
Opposite, yeah.
I still, I'm
I
still on the
I
fence
needed
with-
to get the plug in. That's why I'm here. It's
I'm
for
still on
Satan.
the
I'm
fence.
promoting Satan is
I
why I'm
understand
here.
you're trying to run some weird and crazy satanic cult.
But I actually believe that it's going to work. I'm not just trying to be funny. I know it's a little funny. I actually believe it in my private moments. That's how fucking crazy I am.
You're an idiot. Is the problem.
I am maybe in touch with some dark arts that you don't know about.
Yeah, okay. You and Melissa with the fucking horoscopes can go do your own thing
Well,
and try
let's
to
see
will
how
your
he
way
does
to win the
first. If he
fucking main
final
event.
tables, then maybe he's onto something. Just,
You didn't honor your set of sixes, Matthew.
Yeah, look at DePaula.
I don't know why, but none of you are going to get this reference, but there's an old movie from the 80s with Tom Hanks and Danny Aykroyd called Dragnet that is them as undercover PIs or undercover police where they're trying to infiltrate a satanic cult. And at one point, like, the girl that I think Tom Hanks is in love with is up for sacrifice as a virgin in this. All of this just reminds me of that movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Fantastic flick. That's going to do it for us. I can't take any more of DePaulo. It's been 2 hours and 15 minutes, the longest pod by far.
Jesus Christ.
Too much. Way too much. We need Melissa here after an hour 45 saying you got to rap because she got to poop. She's gonna be so
She's
pissed.
gonna be so angry at you
So
right now.
pissed. I just
Oh
threw
my
shade at
God.
her while she's not here. Good luck to this entire Salt for Wise squad out there in the
Let's
main event
go.
streets today. Please, swaps come through for Papa Burke. We're rooting for you. Apollo, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks,
Good
brother.
luck in day 2 of the main.
Thank you.
Good luck with your sacrificial worship of whatever the fuck deity you're crossing off the
Oh,
list
he
today.
just did a reverse cross.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't want to hear it. If you guys haven't already, please check out On Second Thought. There's a new episode up on our site. That's at solveforwhy.io. 4 seats remaining also for the Poker Out Loud Academy in September 8th to 11th. If you want to get signed up for that, head over to academy.solveforwhy.io. Nice timing on the graphic there, Guapo. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment below. If you guys really beg and plead enough, maybe we'll bring DePaula back one more time after he is beaten down by the justice that the main event tends to shell out. Thank you guys, as always, for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll see what time.